A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
This I believe. Harry W. Schachter is a businessman. He is the president of the Kaufman Strauss Company, a large department store in Louisville. He is a man whose ideas and interests go beyond his particular enterprise. What does that mean? Let Harry Schachter express it in his own words.
I deeply believe in the dignity and worth of the human personality. Because of this, I want to see social justice done to every human being on the face of the earth. Since there is so much injustice in the world today, I want to throw what little weight I have into the struggle against it. I have no illusions that my help will count for much, but I firmly believe that even though I am but one person, my help can be made to count. A poem by Bonaro Overstreet, which I came across the other day, vividly expresses this feeling. It reads as follows: To one who doubts the worth of doing anything, if you can't do everything. You say the little efforts that I make will do no good. They never will prevail to tip the hovering scale where justice hangs in balance. I don't think I ever thought they would, but I am prejudiced beyond debate in favor of my right to choose which side shall feel the stubborn ounces of my weight. I believe that my faith in humanity isn't worth much unless I can translate that faith into action in my business life as well as in my life as a citizen. Therefore, my creed is an active one. As a businessman, I deeply believe that businessmen must not only have ideals, but the courage to fight for them. I do not share the view of some that ideals for businessmen are soft sentiment, that a businessman must be hard-boiled to be successful. I believe that ideals are the only stuff of which progress, solid, substantial progress, is made in business as well as in every other human endeavor. I believe that every form of human organization, and that includes business, was made to enhance the welfare of human beings. Therefore, I believe that business was made for man, and not man for business. I believe that only those businesses whose policies are socially right should have the privilege to continue. Happily, I have never known of any such business which didn't pay excellent dividends in the long run. I hope to continue my faith in human beings actively for all the days of my life. I would like to see that faith spread from man to man throughout our state and nation and throughout the world. I believe that the ills of this world are caused primarily by a lack of faith and understanding in one another between human beings. This is due to the mutual fear and distrust so prevalent among peoples and nations today. I believe that we must have the courage, and it will take courage, to substitute mutual understanding and trust in place of fear if we are to correct these ills. I know that this sounds naive, but I often think that naivete is an important ingredient of faith. I know that we can't start on the path to human understanding on an international or a national or even on a state level. I must start in my own community and with my own neighbors. That's where the battle for democracy will be won or lost. That's where the brotherhood of man really begins. I have supreme faith that despite the present world turmoil, we are closer to the brotherhood of man than we have been in the 5,000 years of our civilization. I intend every day of my life to throw the stubborn ounces of my weight into the fight to bring that brotherhood just a little closer.
That was Harry Schachter, who lives his conviction that the efforts of one man for good are not lost, but become part of a meaningful whole.
The Anchor-Hocking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer.
Well, Tony, what are you waiting for?
1950. That's when they hold the next elections for the Hall of Fame.
Oh? You mean you think you'll get elected?
Why not?
Along with Washington and Jefferson and Franklin.
Precisely.
Yeah, but why? What is your claim to fame, Tony?
It's irrefutable. I work for Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, The Tobacco Pouch. Afternoon, shortly after 4 o'clock. The Blue Note Cafe. A huge middle-aged man enters the bar, orders a beer, empties his glass in one gulp, tosses a bill to Ethelbert, the bartender, and starts out. Before he reaches the door, it opens and...
Well, hello, Ben.
hello, Casey. How are you, Miss Williams?
Fine, Miss Black.
What are you doing on this side of the river, Ben?
Oh, I cross the bridge occasionally on slumming trips to see how the other half lives. A little pressed for time, Casey, so don't take any wooden nickels.
Yeah, I'll try not to. So long.
Nice to see you, Miss Williams. So long.
So long, Mr. Black.
Hi, Ethelbert.
Hello. Say, you two know that big guy who just went out?
Sure, don't you know him?
No, but I'd like him to come in often. He just give me $1 for a 15-cent beer. His face is awful familiar, Casey, but I...
Well, you've
can't
seen his
quite-
pictures in the papers hundreds of times, pal. That's Big Ben Flack.
Big Ben?
Yeah, the boss of Hook Ridge. He runs almost everything on the other side of the river.
Oh, sure, I get him now. What's he doing over here?
He probably came over to get a breath of clean air. The stench of his political machine must get too high for even Ben once in a while. Slip me a pack of cigarettes, will you, pal?
Okay. I hear Flack ain't so active in his organization as he used to be. They say a smart lawyer named Lockhart gives most of the orders now.
Yeah, well, you can gamble that any orders Lockhart gives are those that he gets from Ben. The big guy has that Hook Ridge section in his pocket, and he's going to keep it there until he dies or goes to jail.
Well, there's not much chance of his going to jail. He can get away with murder. And he's gotten away with it, too.
You said it. I never met Lockhart, but what I hear, he's a kind of a slimy double-crossing rat. Ben at least has guts. Here's some cigarettes, pal.
Thanks. You two are through for the day now, ain't you?
Uh-huh. We're working the early shift this week. And I have some shopping to do before the stores close.
Uh-oh.
Well, I've got to buy a birthday present for my little nephew. And you know what boys like better than I do, so you're going with me.
Uh-oh. Okay, where'll we go?
We're going to Bumstein and Riley.
Annie, not a big department store like that where 8 million women are looking for bargains.
I'm looking for bargains, so that's where we'll go.
No.
Casey.
Not Bloomstein and Riley.
Yes.
No.
Pal, as my sister Edna says, quote, a woman's will is always stronger than a fella's won't, unquote. So start walking, Casey.
Oh, 10 million women looking for bargains. Annie, excuse me, lady.
Stop crabbing, Casey. We'll be out of the store in a few minutes.
What?
Oh, they're having a sale on costume jewelry. Maybe I can pick up a pin to go with my new green dress.
Annie, we came here to get something for your nephew.
Yeah, but
and
these pins look like real bargains, Casey. And if I can find a good-looking one for only $2.98...
All right.
It won't take a minute to look them over. Oh, this isn't bad.
Well, that's swell. Buy it.
No, it isn't right. How do you like this one?
That's perfect, Annie. Just the thing.
It won't do at all. Oh, here's a pretty one.
Now, that's terrible.
You're right, it is.
Oh, guy can't win. Nothing.
Oh, here's some that are priced a little higher. Maybe they're better looking.
Annie.
Huh? What?
See that little guy at the end of the counter?
Yeah.
I think he just slipped a bracelet into that big umbrella he's carrying.
A shoplifter?
I can't be sure, but... Look, he's moving away. Let's keep our eyes on him.
Okay, but he doesn't look like a thief.
If all crooks look like crooks, we wouldn't need a police department.
Oh, I know that. But this little man, he has a nice face, and he's so neatly dressed, and, well, he might be a college professor.
Wait, he stopped at the perfume counter.
Yeah?
Hey, look at that tough-looking hombre. That big guy beside him.
Yeah.
Wonder if he broke his arm accidentally or if somebody else did it for him.
Well, his arm's in a sling.
Sure is. Uh-oh. Just got a load of the red rose in his coat lapel. I guess he's not so tough.
Looks can be deceiving.
Annie, the little guy just took something from the big guy's pocket.
Yeah, I saw him, too. It went into the umbrella.
I'm going to nab that runt, Annie.
Well, you'll have to move fast because he is.
I'll get him. Annie, tell the big guy with his arm in a sling that his pocket's just been picked and tell him to stand by.
Yeah, okay, I will. Hey, mister.
Hey, you with the umbrella. I want to talk to you. Wait a minute, wait. There's no use running, fella. I got longer legs than you have.
Let me go. What's the meaning of this?
You know what it is.
I do not. How dare you put your hands upon
Let's
me?
see what you got in the umbrella.
No, don't touch it. No, don't.
Hey, what's going on here?
Come and see, Monahan. I was wondering when one of you store detectives would show up.
Well, Casey. Hey, what's wrong? Mr. Carrick.
What? You know this little runt, Monahan?
Well,
Monahan, order this uncouth individual to remove his obnoxious hands from my person and to apologize for the indignity he's caused me.
Say, look here, half-pint.
No, look. Take it easy, Casey.
What?
You ladies and gentlemen, go on about your shopping, please. There's been a mistake here.
A mistake?
Yeah, Casey, Mr. Carrick, come on with me, quick. Behind that partition to the stockrooms.
Look here, Monahan.
I'll explain everything, Casey, when we get away from this crowd.
Yeah, you better.
Hey, Casey, the man with his arm in the sling hurried away from me after I told him his pocket had been picked. He didn't even thank me. I lost him in the
Oh,
crowd.
that's great, Annie. All I needed was a little more mystery.
Huh?
Say, Monahan, what goes on in this store?
All right, through this door, Casey. Back to the stockrooms, and I'll explain.
Your explanation better be good.
Simply tell this impertinent interloper who I am, Monahan.
Yeah, I'll take care of everything, Mr. Carrick. And to save you any more bother, will you make yourself comfortable in this room here while I tell this gentleman who you really are?
Gentlemen, you call this varlet?
Varlet, what's that?
Please.
I shall await you in this room, Monahan, but don't keep me waiting long.
You're not going to wait there with that umbrella full of things you've stolen. Come on, give it to me.
Return my umbrella.
Oh, no. Until I'm told what this is all about, I'm hanging on to the evidence of what I think it's about.
I condescend to humor you. Take this person out of my sight, Monahan.
Casey, what is this?
Our friend Monahan is going to tell us right now, Annie, or else.
Come away from that room where I put him. He mustn't hear.
All right.
You step into this stockroom. Now then, I'll close the door.
Yeah, and I'll empty the umbrella I took from your little pal.
What?
Look at this stuff, Monahan. Things stolen from this store with the tag's still on them. Now, come on, tell me why you treated a lousy little shoplifter as though he was a tin god and made me look like a sap.
Look, will you and Miss Williams keep this out of your paper, Casey? If it gets in, I'll lose my job.
Huh? Well, give us the lowdown before you ask any favors.
Okay, Casey. That little guy's sister is Mrs. Clayton Westfield.
The Mrs. Clayton Westfield?
Exactly. Brother Wilmer, that you just met, is a kleptomaniac with complications. He thinks he's a reincarnation of a guy named Robin Hood.
Robin Hood, huh?
Yeah, who stole from the rich to give to the poor.
Yeah, I know. I've read the book.
Yeah, well, we store detectives have to protect him and the Clayton Westfield name.
Protect him?
Yet, you see, Mrs. Westfield pays for everything he steals. He's got what you might call a shoplifting charge account.
Mrs. Westfield pays for everything Brother Wilmer steals.
She sends out monthly checks.
Well, now, how does she know what he
He
takes?
always shows her his loot when he goes home, and she makes a note of the price tags. Then he goes out and gives the stuff to people he thinks that needs it. Just a harmless nut.
Well, that's okay for the store he lifts from, but he picks a guy's pocket. How does the guy get his stuff back?
What? Wilmer Carrick didn't pick pockets.
Oh, yes, he does.
Oh, we saw him.
Sure, he made a snatch from a customer at your perfume.
Carrick's never been known to do
All
it.
right, here's the evidence. The one thing that hasn't got your price tag on it.
What?
The tobacco pouch. Here it is. Look at it.
You're right, Casey. That isn't ours. Wasn't worth over $2 when it was new. So the guy didn't lose much.
He lost the key to his hotel room.
The key?
Sure, it's inside the pouch.
Ben Dixon hotel tag on the key. I'll send her right over there.
Well, the man couldn't have wanted it very badly. As I told you, Casey, he walked away when I
Yeah,
told
that
him
was
to pocket.
true. It was.
I can't figure why Carrick took... He's no dip.
All right, let's ask him.
All right, come on. Now, look, Casey, humor the nut, will you? He'll do anything for you if you treat him like a big shot.
All right.
And, well, you know, as I said, his sister is important.
Yeah, okay, Monahan. I'll even call him your Royal Highness. It'll help you.
Well, here's the room I left him in. We've come back, Mr. Carrick.
Hey, Monahan.
Oh,
He's lying on the floor and there's blood on his head.
He's been blackjacked.
Is he?
Wait till I see. Pulse is okay. He's just been KO'd.
half his pockets have been turned inside out, Casey. Somebody has frisked him.
Yeah, but who?
Wait a minute. He's coming to. Here, tell us.
Are you Are you all right, Mr. Carrick?
Oh, I have a headache, Monahan.
All right, I'll get you to a doctor in a minute, sir, but first of all, will you tell us...
A man came in after you left me, the man with the rose in his lapel.
The guy with his arm in a sling?
Yes. But his arm was out of the sling when he opened the door, and then he hit me.
Casey.
Why had you taken a tobacco pouch from that man's pocket, Mr. Carrick?
I took it in order to solve a mystery.
You took it in order to...
Monahan, have you told these persons who I am?
Well, I've given them kind of an idea, Mr.
Good. Then I'll speak freely. My mission in life is to redress wrongs, sir. I am a defender of the right.
I see.
When I first noticed that man with his arm in a sling, he made a most unfavorable impression upon me. I watched him, and when I saw another unprepossessing-looking character approach him and furtively slip a tobacco pouch in his hand, I prepared for action.
Wait a minute. Another guy gave arm in a sling that pouch?
Yes, a villainous-looking churl with red hair who quickly disappeared into the crowded shop.
So you wanted to see what was in the tobacco pouch?
As defender of the right, it was my duty to see.
Casey, that hotel key.
The guy must have slugged and searched Mr. Carrick in order to get it
Let me
back.
see that pouch again, Monahan, will you?
What? Yeah. Here, Casey.
Well, there's only a key inside.
That's all. It's the room 405, Ben Dixon Hotel.
Oh, I don't get it.
Neither do I.
Ah!
Hey, what's that?
Out in the store.
Hey, come on, Monahan, come on.
Dump it.
Oh,
I'll
it's
say.
not.
Let me through, please.
Me too.
Here. What happened there? I'm a policeman.
That man on the floor, officer, he suddenly doubled up and fell at my feet.
The knife has been driven through his back case.
Yes, and into his pocket. He's finished.
Did anyone see who knifed him? You.
No, sir, I only saw him fall.
I didn't see anyone.
Casey, that dead man is...
Mr. Casey,
Yes, Mr. Carrick?
he's the person who hit me.
Yes, that's right. Somebody's rubbed out our guy who wore his arm in a sling.
Our story will continue in just a moment. I've got a good word for everybody who likes good beer.
And that good word is glass.
Yes, glass. Beer in glass.
Beer in glass bottles. For glass and glass alone can bring you beer and ale that's brewery bright.
And now we have a new kind of bottle. The Anchor Glass one-way bottle.
The bottle you never have to take back to the store.
The bottle that cuts out the nonsense and nuisance of deposits. The Anchor Glass one-way no-deposit bottle is so light, so compact, so inexpensive to produce that you never bother about empties. You just dispose of them as you would any other food container.
And let's not forget that good word, glass. This no-deposit container is made of glass, clean glass, which never affects the taste or flavor of anything it contains.
No wonder the Anchor Glass one-way no-deposit bottle is sweeping America. If you want perfect flavor, demand your beer in glass bottles. If you want the extra convenience, demand your favorite brand in the new Anchor Glass one-way no-deposit bottle, a product of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
Why are you pulling me away?
You want to get out of the mob around that dead man, Annie. We may get an exclusive story if we work fast.
How?
I've got that tobacco pouch in the hotel key.
Well, I don't see how
Think
that's...
back, Annie. There was nothing the matter with that guy's arm. Well, why did he wear that sling and a red rose in his lapel?
Oh, as a means of identification?
Sure. There's somebody who didn't know it.
And the red-headed man slipped in the pouch.
Containing only a key, which he tried to get back after Carrie took it, but which he wouldn't claim openly when you tipped him that it had been taken. Then he gets a knife in his back. Well, I'm going to use that key to find out why.
Well, how'll you use it?
You unlock room 405 at the Ben Dixon Hotel before word gets around that arm in a sling is dead.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Casey. You give that key to the cops and let them...
Yeah, let them crab a possible exclusive.
But we may walk into serious trouble.
Annie, you're not walking into anything. I'm going alone.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, definitely yes. If anybody's waiting in that room, they're going to be expecting a guy who'll show up alone. Well, the dead man is about my size and coloring, and I'll have my arm in a sling and a red rose in mine. It's buttoned.
You have...
Sure, come on, we'll buy him right here.
Oh, no, wait a minute. This sounds too dangerous, Casey. I won't let
Look,
you.
kid, you'll go with me to the Ben Dixon and park yourself in the lobby. If I'm not down within half an hour, you call the cops. Empty. A bare hotel room. Nothing here. Uh-oh. Connecting room.
Hello, Slade.
Hello?
I expected you sooner than this.
I got here as soon as I could.
Come on in. It's more comfortable in here.
Peephole in the door, I see.
I wanted to be sure the man I talked to wore the identification agreed upon by you and our friend in Chicago. You made quite a reputation for yourself, Slade, as a careful workman. Also, as a man who doesn't ask questions.
If I ask questions, I'd want to know why you got your face covered up with a mask.
I think you can figure that one. I'm careful, too. Especially when I hire a killer like yourself.
It's smart to be careful.
Now that we understand each other, I'll give you your directions. The man you're to kill is quite a big shot.
Yeah?
His name is Ben Flack.
Flack, huh?
That mean anything to you?
Why should it?
Here are several pictures of him. Study them this evening, then destroy them. Your man spends most of his time at the Ben Flack Community Club in Hook Ridge across the river. Here's $2,000. You'll get the additional $3,000 agreed upon when the job is done. That's all. You can leave by this door.
Thanks.
This phony ain't leaving.
Red!
Let me close that door, boss, quick.
Crazy fool. Why did you hit Slate with your gun?
This guy ain't Slate.
What?
Slate got a knife in his back about 10 minutes after I passed him the key.
Knife in his back?
Yeah. I don't know who did it. When I heard about it, I hot-footed up here to tip you off. Heard you talking to this phony behind the door. When you opened it, I let him have it.
Who is this man? He wore a sling in the rose.
I never seen him before.
He may know who I am. He knows our plan.
Eh? Well, there's only one thing to do.
We can't kill him here. Red, my car's in the parking lot down the street. Bring it to the rear entrance of this place.
Yeah, then what?
Come up the back stairs and help me get this wise guy down to the car by the back stairs. Now get going and fast.
He made me promise not to call you police unless he stayed upstairs over half an hour, Captain Logan. And then I called men from the nearest precinct station before I phoned you.
What's the precinct men find, Miss Williams?
Room 405 and the connecting room were empty, but there were bloodstains on the floor.
Bloodstains?
Yeah. Captain, they think somebody killed Casey and carried his body down the back stairs.
Well, it'd serve him right. I warned this sap he'd butt into police business once too often, and I warned you.
Oh, Captain.
I'm sorry, Miss Williams. I often want to murder Casey, but nobody else is going to do it. I'll come right up to the Ben Dixon and try to pick up the lunch trail.
There's no trail to pick up, Captain, and no lead. He's just gone.
There's your stopping place, phony.
That boathouse.
A very isolated boathouse, Mr. Casey.
Oh, you found out who I am.
Yes. From Fred's cards in your pocket while you were unconscious.
Well, you must know it's pretty dangerous business to knock off a guy in my racket. The newspapers will never get off your tail.
Won't be nearly as dangerous to kill you as it would be to let you live. You've learned too much.
Yeah. I'll say. You able to get out of the car under your own steam?
I guess I can make it.
Open the boathouse door, Red. I'll keep this snooper well covered.
Okay, Lockett.
Oh. So you're Lockett. And Flack's lawyer.
Yes. Doesn't matter whether you know who I am. Now.
All right. Come on inside, Mug. Nice place we got here. Don't you think?
You're going to bump me off.
I'm going to kill you, Casey. You tried to make a fool of me, and I don't forgive that.
That wouldn't you?
Drop those guns. This place is surrounded by police.
Cops! Lockett!
Drop those guns or we shoot.
We can't put up a fight against men we can't see. Drop your gun, Red.
Oh, huh? Okay.
Pick up those guns, Casey.
That's the sweetest order I've ever taken.
All right, you cops can show yourselves now. I've got the guns. There aren't really any policemen, Casey.
What?
Only me.
Mr. College.
Hey, who's that little runt?
That half-pint tricked us.
Watch your tongues, varlet.
Yeah, keep your mitts in the air. Mr. Carrick, I've never been so glad to see anybody in my life, but I don't understand.
It's all very simple. You tried to steal my mystery.
I tried to steal your...
Certainly. I got that key from the man who was killed. Then you made off with it for your own selfish purpose. As defender of the right and redresser of wrong, I naturally followed Joe.
You followed?
To the Benediction Hotel. I proceeded up the back stairs to room 405. Entered by the door you had neglected to lock. And listened at the door to the connecting room.
You heard what I said to Casey?
Yes, varlet.
Oh, so that's what a varlet is.
And what you said to your red-headed henchman there.
Now, just...
When he left your car at the rear of the hotel to assist you with Casey, I concealed myself in its fortuitously unlocked luggage compartment and rode here with you to the rescue.
Wilmer, pal, you're some guy. Look, before we drive these two birds to the nearest police station, Mr. Carrick, will you give them a frisk? They just might have an extra gat on them.
I was about to suggest such a procedure, and I am an expert at frisking.
What? No. Oh, yes, I see what you mean. Don't try anything while he's going over you, Lockett. Or you, Red.
Why,
I'm not a gunman like you, Birds, but I'm a pretty good shot. All right, are they clean, Mr. Carrick?
Quite the contrary, to be literal. But we need have no fear now that they'll produce a hidden gun.
Okay, you two. We start with the cops.
Look, Casey, maybe we can make a deal.
Forget it, Lockett.
Don't be a fool. Every man has his price.
Mine's too high for you.
Defenders of the right cannot be purchased. To the cars, Casey.
Wait.
Outside, Lockett. You two, Red. We're going to the cops.
No, they're not. Who is...
Ben Flack.
Ben, the big boss.
Surprised to see me, Lockett? You and Red?
Well,
Ben,
Casey, feel anything at the back of your neck?
Yeah.
It's a gun in the hand of a friend of mine. Better drop the two cats in your hands. There is a man behind you, Casey.
Drop him, mister.
Okay.
Bring him up, Joe. Now, Joe and I will rearrange the plan you two had.
Then how
do I happen to be here, Lockett? Oh, I've been keeping a steady eye on you and Red for a long time. You haven't made a move I haven't known about. You dirty, double-crossing rats. You never put anything over on Ben Flack. I knew about the red-hot your Chicago pal shipped on here before he even got on the train. And one of my guys put a shiv in his back before you ever saw him, Lockett. But I'm taking the pleasure of killing you and Red myself.
No, Ben, don't.
That ends that. Casey, I'm sorry you and the little guy here had to see what just happened.
I can guess what you mean, Ben.
This overgrown murderer is altogether obvious, Casey. We are dangerous witnesses. That's it. Joe?
Yes, boss?
I've always kind of liked Casey, and I'm soft-hearted with guys I like. You do it.
Sure, boss.
Not if I can help it. Don't let me go. Now, boy, don't get your gun. I'll flip him on the head. That you will not do. Now I'll shoot the other one.
Wait a minute, you don't have to, Wilbur. I've got him under control.
Hey, where did you get that gun you shot Ben Flack with?
From Red.
Huh?
I found it concealed in his pocket when I searched him in the boathouse.
You didn't tell me.
I retain my old Robin Hood technique, Casey. I never tell anybody everything.
Huh.
I hope my bullets didn't kill this murderer. I prefer to let the law take its course in such matters.
No, you only winged him. He'll live till after a jury hears our eyewitness testimony.
Excellent.
Well, I'll pile these two sleeping characters into the car, get them to the cops before anything else happens.
We've had an adventure this afternoon and evening, haven't we?
You said it, Wilmer. I've been conked on the head, taken for a ride. Thought twice I was going to be bumped off, and... you know, pal, I'm kind of all in.
Brother defenders of the right should not be too critical of each other, Casey, but I'm afraid you have no staying power.
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment. Your friends will never guess when you set out your new 2-quart Sunburst crystal pitcher. And someone will say, "Where did you get that beautiful pitcher?" Well, ask them to guess. They'll mention jewelry stores, high-class specialty shops, and the like. They'll never guess that you bought it new and bright for only 50 cents. For this beautiful 2-quart Sunburst crystal pitcher has the same diamond-like sparkle you see in the most costly hand-cut crystals. The kind of crystal that's handed down for generations as a family heirloom. Yes, the Sunburst crystal pitcher is an amazing bargain, a really great value. And yet, you'll find this Sunburst crystal pitcher and other equally great Sunburst crystal values at any retail store selling household glass. Now, the Sunburst crystal pitcher costs only 50 cents, slightly more in distant cities. So ask for it by name. You'll recognize the brilliant, sparkling, traditional Sunburst pattern immediately. Sunburst crystal is a product of Anchor Hawking, the most famous name in glass.
With Lockhart dead and Flack got dead to rights for killing him and that redhead, Casey, it sure looks like you and that Wilmer Carrig has busted up the Flack political machine. Huh?
It'll be pretty hard to reorganize with the ringleaders out of the picture, Edward.
You don't seem very happy about having performed such a fine public service.
Yeah, well, you see, I've just been talked to by Miss Williams and Captain Logan.
They, sore at you?
Yeah, and how? Yeah, and you know, to make the day absolutely perfect, I lost my watch somewhere.
That's funny.
Funny?
Yeah, because a fella gave me a watch tonight. I stepped outside a minute to catch a breath of air, and a little fella comes up and says, "You look like a poor working man who needs a watch." Then before I could say anything, he stuck it in my hand and beat it.
Let's see that watch.
Yeah, here it is.
That's mine.
You mean Mr. Wilmer Carrig?
Mr. Wilmer Carrig, a friend of the poor.
Crime Photographer, starring Stotts Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hawking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass, Anchor Glass Containers, Anchor Caps and Closures. All products of Anchor Hawking, the most famous name in glass. Photographer is directed by John Dietz. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Chittison is the Blue Note pianist. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hawking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. Thursday night on CBS is the biggest show in town, so stay tuned for exciting dramatizations on Reader's Digest Radio Edition, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This I believe. Hector Belithel was born in New Zealand, and as a young man went to England. He lived for many years in the cloisters of Windsor Castle, where he studied and wrote as an unofficial biographer and historian to the royal family. His most recent work was A Century of British Monarchy. Here now are the beliefs of Hector Belithel.
Before we can know what we believe, we must be solidly aware of the difference between prejudices, inherited or imposed on us from outside, and conviction bred within ourselves through experience. I'm in my mid-50s, and I think it's a good season for adding up. I know that I have quelled the gregariousness that muddled me so much when I was a boy. I no longer need people with the nervous anxiety that hurries us towards every lighted candle when we're young. I believe that one should learn the difference between being lonely and being alone. And to me now, the perfect day is the one when I am alone and also idle. I hope also that I've conquered the competitive spirit. I believe that it is wrong to wish to be one up on the Joneses, and that it's a sin to plant this notion in the minds of the young. Children are taught that they must do something. The heroes in their school books are men of action, not thinkers. And children are haunted by too many examinations that prove nothing of their capacity to think. They thus develop a false sense of the value of action as opposed to the value of thought and of motives. There's too much adulation for the man who swims the channel and not enough for the man who sits on the beach and contemplates the waters before him. Modern education is riddled with this folly. I believe that history should be rewritten for children so that they may comprehend the motives behind action. They should be taught that actions do not speak louder than words, if the words are audible expressions of thought. You've asked me this question, what do I believe, at a critical time in my life. Up to a month ago, I lived mostly in London, where I had to work very hard with my rather sketchy talent. Then I decided to change all my pattern, to live more placidly, work less, earn less, and to spend the latter part of my life trying to learn to think. So I came to live in the Close at Salisbury, and I'm writing this at a window, the low autumn sun lighting my pen and my paper. Beyond the mown grass, I can see the spire of the cathedral, and the slow, wise bell is calling the people to evensong. Instead of working today, I walked a little, and I read a little. I planted some geranium cuttings in sand for next year. True, I put off a task I should have done until tomorrow. But I feel calmer within myself for this idleness, and I believe that I'm right in trying to weave a new pattern in which contemplation is the chief color and action is only a thread running through. I believe also that man's greatest enemy is fear, not fear in battle, but in the moral and ethical issues of day-to-day life. Yes, fear and selfishness, with which it is curiously intertwined, they're the ultimate foe. And I do not believe that they are conquered by action. I think they're vanquished by meekness, withdrawing into a state of sublime anonymity and an increasing fire of moral courage within one's own heart. I touch only the fringe of this knowledge yet, but I believe that I'm right.
Crime does not pay.
Nice going, Annie. Very nice. You're terrific.
It's easy with a rifle, Frank. Here, watch. Anyhow, tin cans on a fence don't move.
Moving targets, huh, Annie?
Yeah.
All right, now look what I rigged up yesterday.
What?
You see, here, look. You pull the rope here.
Yeah.
And way off there, a can swings like a pendulum.
Hey, that's better. Okay, let's see. There's nothing to it.
You folks must have named you for Annie Oakley.
Like I said, Frankie, with a rifle, it's a cinch. Watch me with a pistol now. Okay, start the can swinging.
Yeah, check.
Here I go. 1 and 2 and... How am I doing, boy?
Oh, baby, you are a genius with a gun. Another couple of weeks and we'll be going places.
Weeks? What's the matter with right now? If I can hit tin cans at this distance, a guard at a bank ought to be easy as the side of a barn.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear Two-Gun Annie, starring Joan Loring. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Joan Loring as Anne Armistead in Two-Gun Annie. It was strange somehow, at least to those who knew her. Anne was a small girl, light brown hair, nice features, a pretty girl. More, Anne had every advantage of a decent upbringing and a nice home. Her father, Martin Armistead, widowed when Anne was quite young, was a school teacher. Respectability was the keynote of his life and of Anne's. All of which made it seem hardly within the realm of possibility that her father should have trouble with Anne. Still, the trouble came to the point where the father faced his daughter in the living room and spoke to her in no uncertain terms.
It's beyond my comprehension, Anne. I know what you've been up to, but I can't believe it.
What do you know I've been up to, Dad?
You were involved with the hot rods on the road Saturday night. You were at the roadside rest until after 2 in the morning.
So what? What if I was? And how do you know this anyway? Did you see me?
One question at a time, Anne. I know because Joe Barlow saw you from his prowl car and came to me about it.
Joe Barlow should mind his own business.
It is his business, Anne. He's a policeman. I never thought you would be a policeman's business, Anne.
So we were speeding. We weren't risking anybody's neck but our own. There wasn't another car on the road.
Stop it, Anne. You're a senior at high school. You know better. Even if you haven't any sense of responsibility, you ought to know
I don't
better
want any sense of responsibility. I want to have some fun.
Do you call it having fun when you put me to shame before the whole town?
Let the town mind its own business.
Perhaps when a teacher can't control his own child, it is the town's business. It may follow from that he can't control other people's children, even in the classroom.
Oh, cut it out, Dad. You can't get around me that way, and you know it.
What do I have to do with you, Anne? Lock you in your room?
Try it and see what happens. I'll be 18 in a month. You'll lose me as an income tax deduction man.
Anne, I order you to stop your present behavior.
Save it, Dad. You're just talking.
Oh, am I? Well, then you listen, young lady. I've done my best for you since your mother died. You've never wanted for anything. You've had plenty of freedom. Maybe I should have seen to it that you were taught more self-control. I don't know. But I'll tell you this.
Oh.
I know you're a leader among the crowd that drives these jalopies and raises General Ned around town. And if you don't quit them now, I'll turn you over to Joe Barlow myself the day you're 18.
All finished, Dad?
In more ways than one.
Okay. Then I'm going out. Got a date with Frankie.
I warn you,
Save
Anne.
it, Dad. You said your piece, now I'll say mine. Before I give you or anybody a chance to turn me in, I'll leave this one-horse town forever. Take it or leave it, Dad. I'm sick of it, Frankie. I just won't take any more. I won't.
Well, what do you think? You think I like this town? Or what I'm doing, Annie Pie? Jerking sodas for a bunch of kids in jeans? Great for excitement, I don't think.
What brought you here in the first place, then?
The railroad. This was as far from hometown as my dough would take me.
Well, you've been making money. Why do you stick?
On account of a little babe with light brown hair who was afraid of nothing. Not even of me.
Afraid of you, Frankie? You're the only man in town.
You can say that again.
Hey, how fast did we go last night?
Last night I went 65. Now, what'll you bet I can get her up to 70?
Go on, try it. You think she'll hold together?
I tightened the bailing wire this morning. Ready now? Hold on, baby. Here we go.
Wow. Please. Keep her going.
Down to the floor.
Frankie, this is great. It's the fastest you've ever gone.
Get your head out the window.
Oh, Frankie.
How about that, huh?
Oh, this is great.
Oh, shut the radiator. couldn't take it.
But the needle went to 72. It
72,
was wonderful,
huh?
Frank. Yeah, it was just wonderful. Boy, when we roll like that, it's out of this world.
Well, you sure like speed, don't you, Annie Pie?
I like anything that'll get me out of this jumping far, far away. Oh, Frankie, I'm so bored. I'm so darn bored. Except when we do things like that.
Now, honey, take it easy. And now just settle down for a minute, because I want to talk to you.
Now you sound like my father.
I don't feel like your father.
You don't act like it. Oh, Frankie.
Do you mean it, baby, about getting out of this town?
Like I never meant anything in my whole life. I want to get away. Get to a big city, maybe. Get my hands on some dough, real money.
How's your patience, Anne?
Patience? What for?
Well, we might have to take more of this before we could really get away.
Hey, you sound like you had a plan.
I have. Now, listen, I could go back home.
Yeah?
Tell the family I came back because I'm married and broke. They'd give me the money to send for you. That'd be the first step.
Yeah?
After that, we could go on and we could plan. We could make real plans. You and me together, Annie Pie. We could go places.
All right, Frankie. I'll be 18 next month. I'll be on my own. Send for me then, Frankie. And I'll take the first train going your way.
I
feel terrific. I'm here.
What about your old man?
Oh, I had it out with him. Told him I was going bye-bye. He didn't say much. Just looked sad around the edges. Hey, I'm free, Frankie. Where do we go from here?
Oh, we go to my folks' place. For a while, anyway. Hey. Here, put this on.
A wedding ring?
Yeah, check. I told him you're my wife. Next couple of days, if we have time, we can drive over to a justice and make it legal, huh?
Thanks.
Now, come on, Annie Pie. The jalopy's wasting. Time's a wasting. We got things to do, you and me.
Watch this, Frankie. See if I'm a good student when you're the teacher.
Uh-huh. Hey, nice going, Annie. Very nice. You're terrific.
It's easy with a rifle, Frank. Watch. Anyhow, tin cans on a fence don't move.
Moving targets, Annie. All right. Now, look what I rigged up yesterday.
Yeah?
You see here, look. You pull her up here, see?
Yeah.
And way off there, see, a can swings like a pendulum.
Hey, that's better. Okay. Let's see. There's nothing to it.
Sister, your folks must have named you for Annie Oakley.
Like I said, Frankie, with a rifle, it's a cinch. Okay, watch me with a pistol now. Okay. Start the can swing.
Yeah. Check.
Here I go.
Huh?
1, 2, and... How am I doing,
Oh, you're
boy?
a genius with a gun, baby. Another couple of weeks and we'll be going places.
Weeks? Well, what's the matter with right now? If I can hit tin cans at this distance, a guard at a bank ought to be as easy as the sight of the barn.
Why, Anne, whatever. Where are you two going this time of morning?
We're going hunting, Mom. Deer season opens today.
Well, the slacks are all right, Anne, but... Well, I must say you look like a boy with that baseball cap and all.
That's the idea, Mom.
Now, why would a young man want his wife to look like a boy?
Well, fellas might kid me too much. You know, who takes his wife along, honey?
You do, darling.
Don't I, though?
Both of you be careful. More people get killed in accidents. Here, Anne. Wear this.
Your red scarf? But, Ma, when's
Then
the...
nobody will mistake you for an animal. There. Red goes well with your coloring.
Let's go, Annie Pie.
No breakfast?
Oh, we'll be all right. We're going through town. Frank says the hunting is better over in that direction. Don't you, Frankie?
Hmm? Oh, yeah, sure. Well, goodbye, Mom. Don't worry. We're going to be fine. All right, shut up. everybody, shut up. Shut up now, do you hear me? First man opens his mouth gets it. You see my partner's guns? He's got an itchy finger. Now keep him covered, kid, while I get the cash.
You bet, fella. We said don't move. Shut up, lady. You're not hurt. Shut up, everybody.
All right, kid, I got all the cash. Let's go. Boy, there should be a run on this bank this afternoon.
They're starting. Yeah. Quick, before they turn on the alarm.
How much you think we got, Annie Klein?
We'll count it later. Good hunting, though. Hey, you think they knew?
No, not a chance. Hey, there goes the alarm.
Keep driving. I'll watch behind. Let me get rid of your Ma's red scarf. They'll be describing it all over in half an hour.
But we'll be out of the state.
Hey, Frankie, police car taking off after us.
That was fast.
Slow down a minute. Slow down. Do as I say. They can catch us anyway. They got souped up motors. Good. Hold steady now. Don't spoil my aim.
And don't kill anybody.
Think I'm crazy? I just want to... Oh, I missed. Both hands. One more try. They're getting closer.
Shooting at us.
Well, did you think they wouldn't? Hold everything, Frankie. I can't miss this time. Hey, I got him. Right front tire. Blew right off the rim. Speed up, Frankie. We're in the clear. Now they'll never catch us.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with Two Gun Annie. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Joan Loring as Ann Armistead in Two Gun Annie. They made it that first time. They made it completely. The police car, its tires shot out by Ann's marksmanship, abandoned the chase. Ann and Frankie drove into the next state, to the outskirts of a big city. There, excited, tired, they left their jalopy well hidden in a small wood, but not before Ann had exchanged her boy's attire for a sweater and skirt. Then they walked into the heart of the city, found a furnished room, and settled down. A week passed. The excitement began to disappear. Another week, and another. By the end of the month, with pursuit apparently a thing of the past, Ann and Frank ventured into the streets in daylight as well as at night. Late one afternoon, in a quiet residential neighborhood.
Frankie? How much do we have left? Of the money, I mean.
Enough.
Ah, now you bought me clothes. We've been to nightclubs. How much is left?
Well, you counted it with me. You know how much we had in the first place.
Oh, I see. We're almost broke, huh?
Yeah, check, Annie Klein.
We better start thinking about getting some more.
No, we'll need a car for that.
Well, that should be pretty easy. Only this time, no jalopy, a real car.
Why not a heap?
A real car doesn't sway. Not as much, anyway. I don't want to waste bullets like the last time.
Pie, you're terrific.
Thanks, Frankie.
Any special kind of car you're thinking of?
Yeah, a heavy one.
Heavy?
Yeah, see, like that sedan over there.
Yeah. Looks like there's plenty of speed under that hood, huh?
Yeah. I wonder... Come on, Frankie.
Now what?
Neighborhood like this, people have a tendency to get careless a little. Oh, they sure do. Look.
Yeah, I see the keys.
Hanging right in the lock on the dashboard. Well, it's practically an invitation.
Isn't it, though?
Do we?
We do. It's a keen job, this one, huh?
You can say that again.
Where to, madame?
The house, Franklin.
The house?
There's certain equipment we don't want to leave behind, including the firearms and the young gentleman's outfit that fits me so well.
Gas, sir? How many gallons?
5 will do it, mister.
Will you turn off your ignition, please? Because...
Sorry, mister. As you can see, it's not your gas we're after.
Listen, tell the boy to put that gun away.
Why, when I told him to take it out in the first place? I do like the kid says, see?
Well, there's not much in the register. Please
Get
don't.
moving. If it's not in the register, it's someplace. Filling station figures this always has plenty of dough on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. What may we do for you?
We want a room. What have you got?
Well, sir...
We've driven a long way today. Anything with a bath will do.
Sorry, ma'am. There's nothing left with bath.
Well, how much without?
There's nothing left without either, sir.
Did you hear that, dear?
I heard. Not very hospitable, is he?
No. Now, don't you think you could be more accommodating if you were in his place, dear?
Oh, I know I could.
Now, see here.
You see here.
Gun.
2 of them. And they talk loud if they have to.
You want to know what they say?
Yes, sir.
They say get into the office. My wife will mind the desk for you. Go on, get back into the office with me. Open the safe. We're a couple of guests. You're going to pay to get to leave. What's the power under that hood? Oh, I'd love to let her out.
But you won't. Not past the limit yet. No traffic cops this trip.
Check. Annie Pie, did you ever see a scared rabbit like that hotel clerk?
What a waste of time. $500 in the safe, and look at the chances we took.
Well, chances are part of this business, Annie Pie. It's like the big businessmen say, the calculated risk.
Yeah, sure, but the profit's got to be worth the risk.
A meaning, baby?
That the First National Bank over in White Oak is just begging for a heist.
And we didn't do so good at the first job in a bank.
Because we were green. We didn't figure on the time lock on the vault. This time we're really planning it. This is going to be a real haul.
Not a soul around. Perfect.
8:40. He'll be along any minute.
Cashier?
Right. He opens up, locks the door behind him. A couple of minutes later, his assistant comes in. Same routine. Just like I told you yesterday. Time lock opens the vault at 8:55 sharp. We'll have 5 minutes to clean out the joint.
Watch it, Annie. Here he comes.
Check and double check. Mind if we come in with you, mister?
I'm sorry, the bank isn't open until 9.
Yeah, get in. Shut the door. Your regular routine. This ain't no cat pistol.
Mine neither.
Yes, of course.
All right, move fast now. Come on, open the cages.
But they are...
You know what I mean. Pull that switch. I want the alarm off before I clean out the teller's cages.
You know your business, don't you? There you are.
All right, now face to the wall. As soon as your partner comes in, here's what I want you to...
He's at the door.
Yeah. What a surprise he's in for.
Yeah.
Morning, Arthur. Oh.
You got early customers over against the wall. Go on, move.
Yes, of course.
All right, Frankie, clean out the cages.
It's an easy $15,000 here in cash, kid.
There'll be more in the vault.
The vault? You can't open it until 11 o'clock.
Save it, Smarty. We know the time lock goes off at 8:55, and you know the combination.
No, Arthur, you can't give it to them.
That'll take care of him for a while. We intend to have that vault open, Mr. Cashier.
And I have every intention of opening it. I don't especially care for a blow like that one. May I help him?
You may not.
He's bleeding badly. A gun barrel is a nasty weapon to hit a man.
Shut up or you'll get it, too.
Already on the vault, kid.
All right, you. Downstairs, the vault.
Certainly. This way.
An obliging punk, isn't he?
Oh, we don't mind. After all, we're insured, you know, and we're a national bank. We have plenty of resources. Only fools like my assistant would argue with loaded revolvers. Isn't that right?
Stop talking. Get the vault open. Open it, you hear, and shut up. Or we'll leave you inside it after we clean it out. Get moving now. Back. What are you doing?
I'm hungry, honey. Coffee and hamburger do good right now. How about you?
Well, I suppose. I'd feel better if we had a few more miles between us and White Oak before we stopped.
Well, they wouldn't expect us to stop this close. You get it?
Uh-huh. Leave the haul in the car?
Well, why not? Now, who'd expect to find 15 G's in cash and 25 more in securities in a parked car? Some haul, huh, Annie Pie?
40,000, not bad.
Not bad at all.
Let's go.
Now, tell me, can you figure it, Annie Pie?
What?
With dough lying around like that loose in banks. People taking jobs in joints like this.
I wonder what they do for excitement.
A drive-in movie, I guess. Now hit yourself to a stool, Annie Pie.
smells good.
Sure
Maybe
does.
I am hungry.
Morning, folks.
Hi, morning.
Practically afternoon, isn't it?
Not till afternoon.
What'll it be?
A couple with and coffee.
Any wheat cakes? I'll find out. Here, let me give you the setup. How about some coffee right away?
Good idea.
You come far this morning? Not too far. Is that your car out there?
Yeah, smooth, ain't it? Huh?
Oh, sure is. Why do you ask? Well, youngsters like you usually have jalopies, not big sedans like
No,
that
it was
one.
my father's. He got a new one. He gave me that one.
You're lucky. Wish I had a father like that. Excuse me, I'll ask the cook about the wheat cakes. Coffee's good, isn't it, Frankie?
Sure is.
Hello? Is Sergeant Kurowski there? Margaret. No, I'm working this morning. Look, Dave, I think I got him here. The kids who struck up the bank in White Oak this morning. The FBI called before it gave a description. Told us to call you. Their car's a maroon sedan. Right year, right make. Only the young one's a girl. She must have been wearing slacks. Okay, I'll try to hold him. Only tell those G-men to hurry, will you? I think she's got a gun in her purse.
Say, how long does it take to make fresh wheat cake batter?
Well, Cook's very fussy about it, and he was upset because the old stuff was sour.
Take a burger, Ann. Let's get going.
Yeah, tell him to kill the wheats and make me a burger.
Okay, if that's what you want. Hey, what's up, sister?
All right, you kids. Reach.
What, it's a
stick-up? FBI. That was a national bank in White Oak. We got your coal, kids. Thanks to this lady here.
She kept us here. She phoned the cops and kept us
Don't
here.
touch that purse. No, Annie, don't.
Nobody takes me, and not even my own father could do that.
I'm sorry. It's just your arm. We don't like to shoot kids, but your shooting days are over. You should have been quicker on the draw.
I didn't touch no gun. I didn't. Frank, you rotten filthy.
All right, save it, both of you. That assistant cashier, you fractured his skull. He died an hour ago. You're both due for a murder rap. All right, let's get going. The only party who comes out of this ahead is that lady back at the counter. The insurance company posted a reward half an hour ago.
Crime does not pay. Joan Loring, who starred as Ann Armistead in Two Gun Annie, will be back with you in just a moment. Now, here in person is Joan Loring.
To me, at least, the story of Ann Armistead and Frank Winfield is a revealing one. Both young people came from good homes. Anna especially seemed to have every opportunity to grow into a fine woman, a good citizen. Still, they went, in the old expression, they went wrong. Where and why? Examination of both their stories gives us one important clue. Both of them felt their lives were dull, but they needed excitement and a chance for adventure. This feeling is part and parcel of youth. But for Anne and Frank, there was no provision for working off that extra steam. There was no program, no plan. There was no guidance for them. The older generation failed them, as it's failing in so many communities across this nation with disastrous results. That's why, in the last analysis, Anne and Frank sought the release which leads only to the final lesson. That crime does not pay.
Thank you, Miss Loring. Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark B. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Garth. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turtis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental. This is Bob Williams speaking.
This I believe. Helen Hayes is the First Lady of the American Theater. She and playwright Charles MacArthur recently celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary. Here is Miss Hayes to bring us her creed.
Once years ago, I got into a dog fight. I was wheeling a baby carriage, my pet Cocker Spaniel trotting beside me. And without warning, 3 huge dogs, an Afghan, a St. Bernard, and a Dalmatian, pounced on the Cocker and started tearing him to pieces. I shrieked for help. 2 men in a car stopped, looked, and drove on. When I saw that, I was so infuriated that I waded in and stopped the fight myself. My theatrical training never stood me in better stead. My shouts were so authoritative, my gestures so arresting that I commanded the situation like a lion tamer, and the dogs finally slunk away. Looking back, I think I acted less in anger than from a realization that I was on my own, that if anybody was going to help me at that moment, it had to be myself. Life seems to be a series of crises that have to be faced. In summoning strength to face them, though, I once fooled myself into an exaggerated regard of my own importance. I felt very independent. I was only distantly aware of other people. I worked hard and was successful. In the theater, I was brought up in the tradition of service. The audience pays its money, and you're expected to give your best performance both on and off the stage. So I served on committees and made speeches and backed causes. But somehow the meaning of things escaped me. When my daughter died of polio, everybody stretched out a hand to help me. But at first I couldn't seem to bear the touch of anything, even the love of friends. No support seemed strong enough. While Mary was still sick, I used to go early in the morning to a little church near the hospital to pray. There the working people came quietly to worship. I had been careless with my religion. I'd rather cut God out of my life. And I didn't have the nerve at that time to ask him to make my daughter well. I only asked him to help me understand, to let me come in and reach him. And I kept looking for a revelation, but nothing happened. And then, much later, I discovered that it had happened right there in that church. I could recall vividly, one by one, the people I had seen there, the solemn laborers with tired looks, the old women with gnarled hands. Life had knocked them around, but for a brief moment, they were being refreshed by an ennobling experience. It seemed as they prayed, their worn faces lighted up and they became the very vessels of God. Here was my revelation. Suddenly I realized I was one of them. In my need, I gained strength from the knowledge that they too had needs, and I felt an interdependence with them. I was learning the meaning of love thy neighbor. Truths as old and simple as this began to light up for me like the faces of the men and women in the little church. When I read the Bible now, I take the teachings of men like Jesus and David and St. Paul as the helpful advice of trusted friends about how to live. They understand that life is full of complications and often heavy blows, and they are showing me the wisest way through it. I must help myself, yes, but I'm not such a self-contained unit that I can live aloof unto myself. That was the meaning that had been missing before, the realization that I was a living part of God's world of people.
That was Helen Hayes, a great lady of the stage who makes her home in Nyack, New York, and, as she indicated, lives a full life, both in and out of the theater.
As originally broadcast over the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Calling all detectives. When one hoodlum gave another a holiday necktie, it spelled out a pattern of murder. That is the situation on this page from my casebook. The casebook of Jerry Browning, private detective. The holiday season is a time for relaxation. For everybody except a guy like me, Jerry Browning, private detective. It was a couple of days after Christmas, and the Lascott department store was doing a big business in gift exchanges. I was at the hosiery counter explaining why size 9 socks were too small for me, when a couple of aisles over, 2 men at the neckwear counter began exchanging Sunday punches. I pushed my way through the crowd just as one of the contestants folded up and hit the rug. I grabbed the victor just in time to prevent him from kicking in the ribs of his fallen opponent. Shame on you, you big bully, slugging a little guy like that, and right in the middle of the holidays, too. The big man twisted my grip.
Let go of me before I knock your back teeth out. Oh, hello, Jerry. What's the good way?
I relaxed my grip, took a good look at him. Hello, Muscles. When did you get parole?
4 months ago. Excuse me a second, Jerry.
He bent over the small, fallen man, took a gun from his victim's pocket, transferred it to his own.
You have to excuse me, Jerry, but good-natured Eddie has got a nasty temper, as everybody knows. And if he wakes up with that rod in his pocket, he might get rash.
I picked up the little man, shook him to a semblance of consciousness. Muscles, and you too, good-natured. What's the big idea of staging a riot in a place like this? Good-natured gave me a glassy stare.
Why'd they hit me?
Muscles looked hurt.
Why did I hit him? Jerry, I don't steal a classy $10 tie. A special, one-of-a-kind hand-paint job. I give it to my pal, Casina Cassidy, season's greetings, except that Casina intercepted 6 slugs yesterday before he ever sports the tie. And today, I catch good-natured Eddie trying to exchange the tie I buy for Casina.
You mean good-natured Eddie has a necktie you gave a man who's been murdered? That was the point at which good-natured came out of his daze.
I can explain everything. I think the tie is too loud.
Do 'em up Browning, Jerry. Two hoodlums staged a fight in a department store. When one tried to exchange a necktie, the other had given a murdered gambler. I walked Muscles and Good-natured down the street, keeping a firm grip on each one's arm. Good-natured muttered,
Jerry, if you will bunch your nose out of private business, I will cut Muscles' heart out.
Muscles tried to reach beyond me to strike the little man's face.
Listen, you scrawny runt, soon as Jerry leaves, I'll twist your head around till you're looking the other way.
I yanked him over to a doorway. You two listen to me, you thick-headed apes. Casino Cassidy has been murdered. You, Muscles, gave him a holiday necktie, which makes you one of his friends, presumably. You, good-natured, have that necktie, which means you either murdered him or know the person who did. It seems to me that both of you are in kind of a tough spot. Muscles and good-natured exchanged glances. Then,
Jerry, leave us go have a drink against the cold and kind of talk this over.
Sitting in a booth at the Red Lion Bar, good-natured tried to explain.
The tie is too loud, Jerry. That's why I went to exchange it. I'm the conservative type. But I didn't get it off Casina. It was given to me by Danamora Dave Willis, holiday greetings. I'm the good-natured kind, Jerry. I don't croak guys. A bullet in the shoulders as far as I go. And even then, I don't take their ties. Ask Danamora Dave.
I pulled at the necktie that was dangling from good-natured's pocket. It was a loud thing of horses and palm trees and, somehow, mermaids and ocean, obviously hand-painted. Muscles, are you sure this is the tie you gave Casino?
I ask you, Jerry. Could I be mistaken?
I took another look at the monstrosity. Oh, Muscles, you certainly couldn't. I think we'd better go see Danamora Dave.
Let's pause right here. Calling All Detectives returns in a moment. And now let's rejoin Calling All Detectives, starring Paul Barnes, the man of 1,000 voices.
Danamora Dave was the bouncer at a big roller skating rink. When he saw us, he came skating across the floor, pausing long enough to pluck a young would-be acrobat along the way. If you want to die, Sonny, die outside. Hello, Jerry. Muscles, good-natured. A merry Yuletide, gents. What's the score? Good-natured looked unhappy.
Ain't them fine, Danamora, against you?
I held up the necktie. You gave this to good-natured Danamora, but before that, Muscles gave it to the late Casino Cassidy. Mind telling us how you got the tie? Danamora winced. It was a happy holiday present from a friend. Only I personally favor bow ties, the kind with the elastic like I'm wearing. So I pass it on to my pal, good-natured here. Who gave it to you, Danamora? The bouncer hesitated. Well, Casino was always a square guy. He shouldn't have been killed, so... Guzzler Grogan gave it to me. I thought it was kind of funny when he told me he was in too much of a hurry to get a box with it. Muscle snorted. I paid for the tie. I got a box with it. Danamora nodded. Maybe we should all go have a talk with Guzzler Grogan. It'll take all of us to do it. It took hours, but we finally found Guzzler Grogan leaning against a lamppost near the entrance to a narrow, poorly lighted street. When he saw us, Guzzler stiffened, then relaxed as he recognized us. The season's best, pals. Where's the convention? Danamora didn't waste any time. Guzzler, you give me a tie that I give good-natured that he tries to exchange. Only before that, Muscles give the same tie to Casino Cassidy, who is now on a slab. Leave me see the tie. I held it up at a safe distance. Guzzler nodded gravely. That's a tie, all right. A dilly, ain't it? Guzzler, I know you're a hold-up man, but I didn't think you were a killer, too. Guzzler was indignant. Anybody I knock off is strictly not on purpose. Being as Danamora's my pal, I don't mind telling, I take this tie off a guy I guzzled last night, a big skinny guy wearing a monkey-tail coat. He comes out of Casino's place last night at 2 a.m., through a window. As he lands on the grass, there I am, and I grab him around the neck and I guzzle him. You mean you choked him? That's what I said, didn't I? I got his wallet and his watch. He's got this tie in his pocket, see? And I figure that's just what I need for my good friend Danamora Dave. A merry holiday to you. I shrugged, put the tie back into my pocket. Looks like the end of the trail, boys. Now we'll never find Casino's killer. I don't know about that. Before I fling the wallet, I look inside. More time or Aldershot the second as a moniker. Though naturally I won't say it in court. A police squad picked up young Aldershot at his home. He was so surprised that he caved right in, admitted killing Casino in order to wipe out a gambling debt. As for the necktie, it had been flung in a drawer along with Aldershot's IOUs, and when Aldershot grabbed up the notes, he stuffed the tie into his pocket as well. In his panic, he never even realized he had it. Like I said, anything can become evidence, and sometimes even a necktie can turn into a noose around a killer's neck.
And that was Paul.
Murder at midnight.
Listen, do you hear them? Do you hear the bells?
Bells? I don't hear any bells, mister.
But I tell you, they're ringing.
Look, mister, the heat's got you. Oh, you're in the middle of the desert right now. There ain't any bells within 100 miles of here.
But there must be. There has to be. Murderer? No! No!
Midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest, our fear the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in Death Tolls a Requiem. And now, Murder at Midnight. Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre. Our story by Max Ehrlich is Death Tolls a Requiem.
I came into the room and quietly closed the door behind me. It was a room ready and waiting for death. The curtains were drawn, blotting out the bright afternoon sunlight. The air was hot and stifling, the silence oppressive and unearthly. I stared down at the face of the old man in the bed. The old man I hated. His eyes were closed, two sunken shadows against the white wrinkled skin. His waxen hands hung limply over the coverlet. For 3 days he'd lingered while I'd waited for him to die. Now for a moment I thought... But no, his pale lips moved.
How are you feeling, Father?
I've not long to go, my son. Not long. It's only the bells that keep me alive.
The bells?
Yes, over there in the tower. I lie here and wait to hear them. They seem to rally me. I live for the sound of them, Father.
Yes, Father?
What time is it?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Peter must be there now. There in the tower, pulling on the ropes, starting them swinging. The Pedwick bells, Arthur. There they are, my son. Listen to them. Your inheritance. Listen to them ring. Oh, what music they make. What beautiful, vibrant music. They give me the strength, the will to live a little longer.
How I hated him, this sentimental old fool, my father. He'd spent $500,000 to bring those bells over from Pedwick, England, the place of his birth. And with them he'd brought the bell tower, brick by brick, and the English bell ringer, Peter Griggs. $500,000, my inheritance, hung in that bell tower. There was no money left, nothing. My father had lost everything, left me nothing. Nothing but those accursed bells. Ding dong, ding dong. They seemed to mock me, taunt me, jeer at me. I hated the very sound of them. But the old fool in the bed babbled on.
Oh, my son, those bells bring back the past to me. When I was a boy in Pedwick, I heard them toll out the hour, every hour. I married your mother to the sound of those blessed bells. And I buried her to the sound of them.
Stop raving about those bells.
Stop it! There's evil in your face. Evil.
You cheated me out of my inheritance, left me penniless. You cheated me, do you hear?
No.
Listen to the bells. Yes, they know. Can't you hear them jeering at me, mocking at me? You're penniless, they're saying. Penniless. Penniless. Die, you fool. Die. 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 You bought those bells, now let them ring your requiem. The bells stopped finally. My father lay there, dead. I turned from his white, still face and half walked, half stumbled toward the bell tower across the grounds of our estate. Something stronger than myself drew me to it. I entered the tower and stared up into the gloomy belfry. Yes, there they were, the bells, gleaming dimly in the half-light, their bronze mouths yawning down at me. And then as I stared up at them, I heard a step behind me. Who's there?
Why, 'tis only me, Mr. Brooke. 'Tis only Peter.
Oh, I didn't see you standing there in the shadow.
So you've come in to look at my little brood, eh? You've come to admire my 3 children.
Yes.
Ah, Mr. Brooke, in all the world there are no finer bells than my wee babies. 'Twas none other than Christopher Hodson himself who cast them in the 17th century. Aye, the master himself. My father rung 'em, and his father before him, and his father before him.
And these are the bells my father paid $500,000 for.
Aye, and he got 'em cheap, sir. These are historic bells, known to all of England. And the folk of Old Pedwick parted with them hard. They gave 'em as a gift, you might say. Your father gave the town an orphan asylum and a hospital. And now he has the bells.
And now they'll hang up there forever.
Aye, and 'tis well, for they're in good hands. Your father is of Old Pedwick, sir, and like me, he loves the bells and knows what they say when they talk.
Peter, my father will never hear the bells again.
What do you mean by that, sir?
He died 15 minutes ago.
Huh? Oh, Mr. Brooke, dead?
Yes.
Oh. Dust we are, and to dust we shall return. So 'tis written, and so shall it be. Oh, he was a fine man, sir.
Thank you, Peter.
Both me and my children up there. We'll miss him. Aye, we'll miss him sore. Oh, little Davy, Big George. Oh, my beautiful Betty, my pretty hussy. You hear? The master is dead.
You call the bells by names? You talk to them?
I like a father to his children, and they talk to me.
They talk to you. The bells talk to you.
Why and why not? They have tongues, and they have hearts and souls. Come, my babies. The good master is dead. Come, little Davy. Cry the sad tidings. Come, Big George, awake. Cry, my father. Weep, my winsome Betty. Weep, girl. Weep, girl. The master is dead. Sing! Sing a sad song, my lady one, my beloved one. Higher! And higher! Weep, my babies. Pour out your tears. Cry out to the countryside. The master is dead!
I watched him, fascinated, as he pulled one rope, then another, and worked another bell by means of his foot thrust through a loop in a third rope. The bells rang and clanged, throbbed and echoed, beat against my brain in jangling tones and overtones. I looked up at them as they swayed, and their mouths seemed to accuse me of my father's death. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it any longer. I turned and ran from the bell tower. After my father's funeral, I dropped in at the office of Frederick Denny, my father's attorney and executor of what was left of the estate. There were certain things I wanted to discuss.
So you want to tear down the Brooke Memorial Tower and sell the bells?
Yes, Mr. Denny. From what my father told me, they have considerable value.
Yes, Arthur, they do. Their intrinsic value, aside from their worth as historic relics and antiques, runs into hundreds of thousands. I've already had 2 offers of purchase.
You have?
Yes. One from a university, one from a museum.
Good.
However, the bells are not for sale.
What? Mr. Denny, you know the condition of the estate. Why, I'm penniless. Dad left me nothing. Nothing. Unless I can realize something from the bells.
I'm sorry, Arthur, but the terms of your father's will are quite specific.
Then I'll break the will. I'm my father's rightful heir, and whatever I can sell those bells for belongs to me.
I'm sorry, my boy. I drew up this will myself, and I can assure you it's airtight.
There was nothing I could do. Nothing. I was beaten, and I knew it. And day after day, night after night, every hour on the hour, I heard those blasted bells. Ding-dong, ding-dong. They mocked me, taunted me, jeered at me, laughed at me. They seemed to talk to me. They talked to Peter the bell ringer, and now they talk to me. Mocked me every hour on the hour.
Oh, I hated them, cursed them, blocked my ears against them, but they kept on ringing and ringing and ringing until I thought I'd go mad. Finally, I could stand it no longer. I had to silence those hateful bells once and for all. I had to still their cursed tongues forever. That night late, I went to the bell tower, fevered, in a kind of frenzy, determined to blot out their voices somehow. I entered the bell tower. Peter was there, ringing the bells. Peter!
Mr. Brooks!
Stop ringing those bells! Stop it, I say!
Huh? Stop the bells?
Yes, now! Now, do you hear?
No, I will not. There's evil in your face. You don't like the bells like your father. You hate my little children. You mean them harm.
I told you to stop those bells. I'll make you stop.
Mr. Brooks, what are you doing? No.
You joking me. Never ring those cursed bells again. I can't believe that. Quiet now. Quiet. The bells were still. The awful pressure in my head went away. It had been easy to strangle Peter. His foot had caught in the pedal noose of the bell rope. And he never had a chance. Now I had to make it look like an accident, like suicide. I picked the bell ringer up, tied one end of the bell ropes around his neck, and gave him a long push. And forth. He swung in the bell tower like a grotesque pendulum, the rope creaking under his weight. Well, little Davy up there, Big George, Pretty Betty, why don't you talk now, eh? Why don't you talk now?
I'm going mad with the sound of the bells, shaking his fist and laughing at his bronze torturers as he stops them from striking 12 for
Murder at midnight.
And now, here is Arthur Brooke again, continuing his story.
There was an investigation of Peter's death. The county medical examiner and I went to the bell tower and looked at the bell rope on which Peter's body had been found hanging.
The way I see it, Mr. Brooke, it's a clear case of suicide. The deceased fastened this rope around his neck, climbed up on the belfry ladder, and flung himself out into space.
Yes, Mr. Holcomb. It looks as though he did just that.
Mr. Brooke, there's one question I want to ask you.
Me? What is it?
Well, a man usually doesn't commit suicide unless he has a motive. Did you notice anything peculiar about this bell ringer's behavior before this happened?
Why, no, nothing except that he was deeply depressed when my father died. You see, my father loved the bells as much as Peter did, and...
that might account for it. But I understand this English bell ringer was rather a queer duck anyway.
What's that?
What?
Mr. Holcomb, the bells. They're ringing. How can they?
Take it easy, Mr. Brooke. Take it easy. The tower door is open and wind just came through. Made the bells tinkle a little.
Oh, yes, of course. It was the wind. I'm sorry.
That's all right, Mr. Brooke. After what you've been through, I don't blame you for being jumpy.
Finally, the verdict was official. Suicide. And for 2 weeks, the bell tower was closed and the bells silent. It was then that I had an idea. I went straight to the executor of my father's estate, Mr. Denny, and told him what was in my mind.
Arthur, I'm sorry, but what you ask is impossible. We can't take those bells down.
But, Mr. Denny, you've read the papers. This bell ringer's suicide has made a mockery out of the tower. All the cheap publicity in the newspapers, the sensationalism, the people coming to stare at the bells. Why, I feel that my father's memory is being desecrated.
I know, Arthur. The whole thing's been very unfortunate, but we cannot let you tear down the tower and sell the bells, as you know.
Yes, I know. The will, my father's will.
Precisely. And his last wish must be respected.
Very well, let the bells stay. But for the love of heaven, Mr. Danny, can they remain silent? Must they ring any more to remind everyone in town of the tragedy?
Your father specified that they must be rung on the hour, every hour, just as they did in England. And that's the way it'll have to be, Arthur. We're already negotiating for a new bell ringer.
Mr. Danny, listen. Listen, do you hear them?
Hear what?
Bells.
Bells?
Yes, can't you hear them? Can't you hear them? You must hear them, Mr. Danny, you must.
Oh, yes, I do now, very faintly. Your sense of hearing, Arthur, is remarkably acute. Those bells are from the next town, Silver Valley. Sometimes you can hear them here when the wind's right.
Oh, why don't they stop? Why don't they stop talking?
Talking? Bells talking? What do you mean?
Oh, nothing.
Look here, Arthur, something's wrong. You're on edge, ill. Why don't you go away for a good long rest, say a month or so? It'd do you good.
Go away? Yes, why not? Rest. That's what I need. Rest and quiet. Away from the bells. There was a quaint little inn I knew in the mountains, 100 miles away. The food was good, and a golf course nearby, and, well, I made reservations. For a week I ate, slept, played golf, rested. And then one afternoon I was in the lobby of the inn, chatting with the proprietor.
Enjoyed your stay here, Miss Brooke?
Oh, yes, Frank. Fine.
Well, you've been lucky in the weather. I never did see such nice weather. Well,
Frank! What's that?
What's what?
Do you hear? Bells.
Bells? Of course I do. From the church at Greenville, 2 miles away.
But why are they ringing?
Mr. Brooke, what's come over you? It's Sunday, and that's
Frank!
really...
Frank, I'm checking out.
Checking out? Now? But, Miss Brooke, you made reservations for a month.
I'm leaving now, do you hear? Right away, just as soon as I can get my bags packed. The bells. I had to get away from the bells. That was it. That was all I needed. I remember the place when I went when I was a boy. An island off the seacoast. There was an old fisherman there, a friend of mine, and I knew he'd put me up. The place was miles from anything, from the mainland, from bells. I took a train, chartered a small boat, and spent 3 quiet days there. Then, on the 4th day, as we were surf casting for striped bass.
All right, Mr. Brooke, let's see you cast way out into the surf. Nice long one that was. Now, if a striper just hooks onto that bait of yours, why, you're going... Well, what is it, Mr. Brooke?
I hear bells.
Bells? Why, sure you do. The Coast Guard's testing a new bellboy out on those reefs over there. Oh, what's wrong, Mr. Brooke? You're as white as a sheet.
I've got to get away from here. I've got to get away. Bells. Everywhere I went, they pursued me, ringing their accusations in my ears. I left the island, got into my car, drove. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't care. I just had to get away from those bells. And then, some days later, I was driving through a desert area in the southwest. I was deep in the desert, reeling off mile after mile on the highway when suddenly from far off I heard bells. I set my teeth, gripped the steering wheel tight. Enough was enough. I'd fight them now. Fight them to the bitter end. I wouldn't let them master me, tear me apart, drive me mad. No! I had to beat them, and I'd do it now! I drove on, and the bells followed me. They must come from a train running parallel to the highway somewhere over the rim of the desert. Yes, it must be a train. It couldn't be anything else. Mile after mile I drove, and mile after mile the bells followed me. I began to wonder, when would the tracks cross the highway? Tracks always cross highways somewhere. They just didn't run parallel indefinitely. And then off ahead, I saw some trucks and men. It was a construction crew fixing the road. I stopped the car and hailed the foreman.
What is it, mister?
Doesn't the train cross the highway somewhere up ahead?
Train? What train? There's no railroad in this area of the desert.
But there must be. I hear train bells.
Where? I don't hear any bells, mister.
Well, I tell you, they're ringing.
Look, mister, you must have sunstroke or something. There ain't no train within 100 miles of here.
But there
no
must
bells
be.
either.
There must be. There has to be. Now I knew what I had to do. I had to go back to the estate, back to the Brook Memorial Tower and destroy the accursed bells I'd inherited. I had to close their bronze mouths, pull out their wagging tongues, smash their glittering faces. They had possession of me. They were driving me out of my mind. I had to free myself of them once and for all. Only then would I be at peace. I headed for home. And every mile, every hour, the bells pursued me, ringing in my ears day and night, pounding and relentless. Back at the estate, I went to the gardener's tool house, picked out a heavy sledgehammer, headed toward the bell tower. A car was just coming up the driveway. It looked like Denny's, but I paid no attention. I ran into the bell tower and climbed the ladder into the belfry. Now is the time. There were the bells leering at me, grinning at me. I'd smash them now and forever. I lifted the sledgehammer and brought it down to the first bell. I'll smash it to bits. Why don't you break? Why don't you break? Arthur! Arthur! What are you doing there in the belfry? I'll smash them. I'll break them into pieces. It's the last thing I do. Arthur! You got mad! Stop it, I say! Stop it! Why don't they stop ringing? Why don't they stop? No! No, don't! Don't say it anymore! I can't stand it any longer! I can't!
Dr. Williams, I must compliment you on this mental institution of yours. It's run very efficiently. One of the finest in the state.
Thank you, Professor.
Oh, and by the way, it must be close to midnight. I didn't expect to stay here this late, but it was so interesting. And what is the time, anyway?
Well, I don't have a watch on me, Professor, but... just a second. Listen.
The bells! There they go again! There they go! Can't you hear them? Stop them! Stop them!
The time now, Professor Alvin, is exactly midnight.
How do you know that, Doctor?
That patient you just heard, Professor, the one who just cried aloud, is a very remarkable case. A human timepiece. He has no watch, of course, but every hour, on the hour, he hears bells.
He hears bells every hour, on the hour?
Precisely, Professor Alvin. And he's never more than a second or two out of the way.
And so a man lies in a bed in a padded cell and hears the bells ringing, every hour, on the hour, just as he once heard the real bells strike 12 for...
Murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death tolls a Requiem and the clocks strike 12 for...
Murder at midnight.
The part of Arthur Brooke was played by Michael Fitzmaurice. With music by Bert Berman, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
And now, This I Believe. Here is Edward R. Murrow.
This I Believe. As everybody knows, Helen Keller was stricken deaf and blind as a baby. But this miraculous woman lived to become a symbol of courage to millions. Today, though over 70, she confidently travels the world as a counselor for the American Foundation for the Blind. In the voice she has learned to use but cannot hear, she introduces her creed.
It is Helen Keller who salutes you.
It is Helen Keller who salutes you.
You are not familiar with my voice.
You are not familiar with my voice.
But my friend Barton Thompson will interpret the belief.
But my friend Polly Thompson will interpret the belief.
I have written from my soul.
I have written from my soul. I choose for my subject faith wrought into life, apart from creed or dogma. By faith I mean a vision of good one cherishes, and the enthusiasm that pushes one to seek its fulfillment regardless of obstacles. Faith is a dynamic power that breaks the chain of routine and gives a new, fine turn to old commonplaces. Faith reinvigorates the will, enriches the affections, and awakens a sense of creativeness. Active faith knows no fear, and it is a safeguard to me against cynicism and despair. After all, faith is not one thing or two or three things. It is an indivisible totality of beliefs that inspire me. Belief in God as infinite goodwill and all-seeing wisdom, whose everlasting arms sustain me walking on the sea of life. Trust in my fellow men, wonder at their fundamental goodness, and confidence that after this night of sorrow and oppression, they will rise up strong and beautiful in the glory of morning. Reverence for the beauty and preciousness of earth, and a sense of responsibility to do what I can to make it a habitation of health and plenty for all men. Faith in immortality because it renders less bitter the separation from those I have loved and lost, and because it will free me from unnatural limitations and unfold still more faculties I have in joyous activity. Even if my vital spark should be blown out, I believe that I should behave with courageous dignity in the presence of fate, and strive to be a worthy companion of the beautiful, the good, and the true. But fate has its master in the faith of those who surmount it, and limitation has its limits for those who, though disillusioned, live greatly. It was a terrible blow to my faith when I learned that millions of my fellow creatures must labor all their days for food and shelter, bear the most crushing burdens, and die without having known the joy of living. My security vanished forever, and I have never regained the radiant belief of my young years that earth is a happy home and hearth for the majority of mankind. But faith is a state of mind. The believer is not soon disheartened. If he is turned out of his shelter, he builds up a house that the winds of earth cannot destroy. When I think of the suffering and famine and the continued slaughter of men, my spirit bleeds. But the thought comes to me that, like the little deaf, dumb, and blind child I once was, mankind is growing out of the darkness of ignorance and hate into the light of a brighter day.
You have heard the beliefs of Helen Keller, introduced by her own voice and interpreted by Polly Thompson, who for nearly 40 years has helped her emerge from a blind and deaf-mute's prison to communicate so richly with the world.
Cleanser, famous for chasing dirt, presents Nick Carter, famous for chasing crime. Every week at this time, two great names are joined as Old Dutch Cleanser brings you one of the most resourceful and daring characters in all detective fiction, Nick Carter, Master Detective.
That's impossible.
No, Patsy. Somewhere high up in the skyscrapers of this city, a deadly killer is running wild.
I know. But how on earth are you going to track him down, Nick? It's like looking for someone in a jungle of stone and glass.
Well, at least I know whom he's picked out for his next victim.
Who?
A fellow by the name of Nick Carter.
Now, the case of the careless employees. Today's exciting Nick Carter adventure brought to you by Old Dutch Cleanser. Our story begins in the superintendent's office of the Park Window Cleaning Company, a large firm handling skyscraper contracts only. Bill Stevens, one of the company's window washers, is talking to the superintendent, Frank Marston.
I just dropped in to give you my notice, Marston. I'm quitting this coming Saturday.
What?
You heard me. I'm handing in my equipment Saturday.
Wait a minute, Bill. Take it easy. It's more money you want.
You couldn't pay me enough to keep me washing windows for the Park Company, Marston.
But, Bill, you've been with the company a long time.
Yeah, and I want to live a long time. I don't like all these accidents that are happening to pals of mine. Look at Ed Kelly. He fell 40 stories to the street 2 weeks ago. And then last week, Joe Drummond took a nosedive from the Embassy Hotel towers. And then only yesterday, Tim Bolin hit the bricks. Dropped 20 stories from the Exchange building. And each of them so badly smashed you could hardly identify them.
Well, sure, I know, but we're bound to have a run of bad luck now and then, Bill. Those fellows probably got a little careless.
Nuts. They were old-timers, and you know it. They knew where to put their safety belts and how to handle themselves in a high wind. The truth is, this here company is jinxed.
And what do you mean by that?
You're the superintendent. You tell me.
Oh, just because you've had a few accidents.
Marston, we've had 3 accidents in 2 weeks, and that's too many. I'm getting the jitters myself. The next thing you know, bingo, they'll pick me up off the street with a blotter.
Bill, if I were you, I'd think it over.
Think it over nothing. My mind is made up, Marston. I'm going to get myself a nice, safe job on the ground.
Oh, good morning, Patsy.
Oh, gosh, do I feel embarrassed. Letting the boys beat me into the office.
Ah, Patsy.
What's the matter, Nick?
Leave that bunch of fruit you call a hat right where it is. We're going places.
So early in the morning.
So early in the morning. John Farron just called and asked us to go to work for him.
Farron?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Farron of Atlantic Underwriters?
That's the man. And I might remind you, his company pays us a handsome annual retainer for services rendered.
In other words, you've got yourself a case.
I have.
Well, what's it all about?
Well, Atlantic issues a special high-premium policy to window cleaners. And 3 of these insured window cleaners have fallen from skyscrapers in the last 2 weeks.
Well, what does that have to do with you?
In the first place, statistics show that no window cleaner has died by accidental fall in the past 2 years. And now, for no apparent reason, 3 of the poor devils plunged to their deaths in 2 weeks.
It could be coincidence, Nick.
Yes, it could, but I doubt that it is. Listen to this. There are only 2 big contract window cleaning companies in town. The Park Outfit and the Community Window Cleaning Corporation.
Uh-huh.
Between them, they handle millions of dollars worth of skyscraper business annually. And they're bitter rivals.
Well, who had the accidents, Park or Community? Or both?
All the accidents have happened to Park, none to Community.
I see. Of course, that could be coincidence, too.
No, I'm afraid this case has too many coincidences.
Well, what are we going to do about it, Nick? In other words, where now?
To headquarters. I want to check a few details with Mary before we really get going. So you're sure these window cleaners fell by accident, huh, Matty?
I can be absolutely sure of nothing, Nick. As far as we know, these guys just got careless, that's all.
Well, from what we understand, they were all old-timers in the window cleaning business.
Yeah, but even the best of them can make mistakes, Patsy.
Yeah.
And when they slip on a job like this, why, it's curtains. Or I should say shrouds.
Oh.
Now, what about the safety belts these cleaners are wearing, Matty?
Nick, I checked them myself. They were in perfect condition. Not a thing wrong with them.
And the bolts on the sides of the windows to which they hooked their belts?
Went over them personal, every one of them, and every window where these men were cleaning when they fell. Those bolts were in solid, Nick, not a loose one on the lot.
Well, Nick, that's that.
Why, sure, you're just wasting your time, Nick. The medical examiner looked over each of the bodies and reported death by accident, fall and violent contact.
Ryland is right.
Oh, Nick, I've seen men smashed up in my time, but these fellas... we could barely identify them.
Well, nevertheless, I still can't get over the fact that these accidents happened so close together and only to the men in the park company.
Well, Nick, look, these window cleaners stepped out on a windowsill and slipped. Or they were blown off these skyscrapers by a high wind before they got their belts hooked. No, I don't know. But we're booking them as accidents, and that is that as far as we're concerned.
All right, Matty, you may be right. But until I've exhausted every possibility, I'm not going to be satisfied. Come on, Patsy.
Where are we going this time?
Uptown. I want to talk to the superintendent of the park company.
Mr. Carter, it's beyond me. I still can't figure out how they happened to fall.
Tell me, Mr. Marston, did you know any of them well?
Did I know them? Oh, see, I did. They were old-timers with our company. Came in with me when the business first started. Worked right alongside of them before I hurt my leg and took this inside job. Yeah, they were friends of mine, all right. Knew their families, too. Now...
We understand how you must feel.
Mr. Marston, these accidents, how have they affected your business?
We're taking a terrific beating, Mr. Carter.
I see.
We've already lost a couple of big accounts. The Mercantile Building and the Arcade Building canceled with us and went over to the Community Corporation. They didn't like the unfavorable publicity.
I can understand that.
And that isn't all. This losing business is only one of our troubles.
Suppose your men are quitting, huh?
They sure are, in droves. You know, window cleaners are pretty superstitious, Mr. Carter. I think our company's hoodooed.
Well, can't you get any help to replace them?
There hasn't been a man come to our employment office in 2 weeks. We've advertised in all the papers, and we haven't got a single response. Frankly, Mr. Carter, a little more of this kind of thing, and the park company's washed up. We're through.
I see. Mr. Marston, who's the man to see at your competitors, the Community Corporation?
A man named Whaley, Fred Whaley. It's a corporation with a board of directors, but he supervises operations. Why? What's he got to do with all this?
Oh, I just want to get his point of view, that's all. Come on, Patsy. Let's go see Whaley.
Look, Mr. Carter, I'm a very busy man. I don't have much time. Now, what do you want?
Miss Bowen and I are investigating those accidents over at Park on behalf of the Atlantic Underwriters.
Well, why come to me? Nothing's happened to our window cleaners. Why don't you talk to the park people instead of coming here to waste my time?
Look here, Whaley. You don't have to tell us anything if you don't want to. But at least you can be civil.
Okay. Well, what do you want?
We don't quite understand why all the accidents seem to be happening to the park company alone.
Meaning what, Carter?
Meaning anything you like. Or nothing.
Look here, Carter. Are you implying we're responsible?
I'm not making any accusations, Whaley.
We just thought you might have an idea.
I haven't. I mind my own business, operating the Community Window Cleaning Corporation. What happens over at Park doesn't interest me. Is that clear?
Clear enough. But is it the truth?
Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Carter. Do I understand you to insinuate that
What I'm saying is common knowledge in business circles, Whaley. Park has already lost several big skyscraper contracts to your company. They lose a few more, they'll fold up.
Well, that's their affair. It's not mine. Though I'd be happy to see them fold up. Now, is that all?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Whaley. That's all. For now.
Beautiful.
Fresh.
Oh, now, listen, I just got carried away. You know, when you're cleaning windows on these big buildings, all you see mostly is a lot of sourpusses. But you, boy, you're the best-looking babe I've seen in any of these offices.
Oh, you really think so?
Honest, no kidding.
Well, you're not so bad yourself.
Thanks, baby. What's your name?
Mabel Lanigan.
My name is Bill Meadow.
Pleased to meet you.
Must be pretty dull working in an office like this all day, punching a typewriter.
Oh, I'll say. Sometimes I could scream. But take your job. Gee, that must take an awful lot of nerve.
Yeah, Yeah, gotta watch yourself.
Ain't you scared you'll fall someday?
Well, I never was before, but lately I've started to smarten up. In fact, I'm quitting the job tonight, and I'm going to celebrate. Hey, that gives me an idea.
What?
How about you celebrating with me?
Oh, I couldn't do that. I hardly know you.
Oh, come on, Mabel. I'm a nice guy when you get to know me. We'll go to the Blue Grotto. You know, dinner, dance. What do you say, Mabel? Huh?
Well,
I tell you what, if it'll make you feel any better, we'll make it a foursome.
Foursome?
Sure, I've got a friend. You get a friend.
Well, I've got a friend who works on the floor below, on the 32nd floor. Her name's Alice Hayes. I might call her up.
I tell you what, if it's okay with her, me and my friend will meet the two of you at the entrance of this building tonight at 6 sharp. Okay?
All right.
Well, call your friend right now. I'll be washing the next window over, Mabel. And when you get through phoning, you stick your head out of the window and let me know how you make out, huh? So long, beautiful.
Awful cute, Alice. Honest, he is. Huh? Oh, gosh, I don't know how tall his friend is. Yeah, sure, it's embarrassing when you're taller than the man you're with, but I'll tell you what, Alice. Hold the wire. Bill's washing the window in the next office. I'll ask him how tall his friend is. Hold on. Bill, my friend Alice wants to know how tall... Bill!
That Mr. Whaley is a nice, chatty man, Nick. Just a sweet, lovable guy if I ever saw one.
Yeah. Certainly didn't get much out of him.
If you ask me, we're on a wild goose chase. We've been running around in circles.
Hey, what's the matter?
Nick, that ambulance just stopped where the crowd is. Must be an accident.
Yes. Let's have a look.
Right.
Hey, what happened, Bud?
What happened?
It's another window cleaner.
Window cleaner?
Yeah, poor guy smashed right through the awning, right on the sidewalk. Must have jumped on the 40th floor.
Oh, Nick, it's another one of those accidents.
Oh, I see. Come on, Patsy.
Oh, but Nick, the body's over there.
I'm not interested in the body. I want to find out what office that poor devil dropped from. You say it was the office next to yours. That right, Miss Flanagan?
Yes, sir. He'd just finished our window, and he was working on the next one. He was just falling backward from the windowsill. Kind of.
And that's all you saw?
Yes, sir.
Nick, I think we better let Miss Flanagan go now. She isn't feeling very well.
Yes, of course. Just as soon as she tells us which office it was.
It's this one right here. It used to be rented by the Berger Woolen Mills. It's empty now.
I see. Thank you very much for your help, Miss Flanagan.
You're welcome, I'm sure.
All right, let's go in, Patsy.
Right, Nick.
Well, now, they're only an empty office, but it's just been repainted.
Yeah. Floor's still a little sticky from a fresh coat of varnish.
Hey, Patsy, look.
Look at what?
The floor.
Huh?
A very faint imprints of someone's feet on the varnish.
Nick, you're right.
Now, wait. See those little round spots beside the footprints?
Yes.
Those are undoubtedly made by the rubber tip on a cane. So the man who came into this office was lame, huh?
Does that suggest something to you, Nick?
Now, wait a minute. Hey, look. There are a number of prints at the window, too. Must have been left by the window cleaner. Apparently, he was cleaning the inside of the window when the lame man came through the door.
Nick, I still don't see what
But the window washer's pail is on the outside sill of the window.
Well, what of it?
Well, look at the window, Patsy. Look at it. It's already been washed on the outside, and the cleaner had started on the inside surface. That means the cleaner was working on the inside when he was interrupted.
Nick, if that's the case, why is the pail on the outside of the window?
Precisely, Patsy. It shouldn't be. Unless someone deliberately put it there after the window cleaner was dropped to the street.
Then this was no accident.
I'll say it wasn't. It was murder.
back to the case of the careless employees. Today's Nick Carter adventure brought to you by Old Dutch Cleanser. It is Monday now, and Patsy is just coming into the office after doing a job of research for Nick.
Well, Nick, I checked back on those 3 accidents that preceded Bill Meadows.
And?
And your hunch was right. Every one of those window cleaners fell from the window of an empty office.
Good going, Patsy. This proves that the murderer was someone who knew the schedules of the park company crew.
And knew them to a dotted I and a crossed T. He showed perfect timing, picking empty offices where he wouldn't be disturbed.
And his motive certainly is obvious enough. To ruin the park company, drive it out of business. Still, even with what we know, it isn't going to be easy to nail down this killer, Patsy.
Oh, I'll say it isn't. Well, there must be 100 skyscrapers in the city with thousands of windows, and heaven knows how many empty offices. And looking for this murderer is going to be even worse than trying to find a taxi on a rainy night.
Patsy?
Yes?
Did you ever wash windows?
What?
I said, did you ever wash windows?
Why, yes, of course, but I never enjoyed it. Why?
I've decided to get a window cleaning job with the park company.
Oh, Nick, for the love of Pete, have you gone mad?
No, Patsy. I've got a hunch that if I set myself up as sucker bait, the killer may look me up.
Well, how'll he know where you are or what you're doing?
Oh, I'll make sure the word gets around.
Why, Nick, you can't do it. It isn't the killer I'm worried about so much. It's the idea of you hanging on a safety strap 40 stories above the street and then suddenly... Oh, Nick.
Now, Patsy, don't worry. High places don't bother me. Maybe you don't know it, but if you look in my high school yearbook, you'll see that a kid named Nick Carter was champion high diver of the swimming team.
You say my men were murdered, Carter? They didn't fall just by accident?
That's right, Marston.
Well, what makes you think that?
Well, I won't go into the details now, except to tell you I know they were murdered. And the killer is a man who uses a cane. Probably walks with a limp.
Walks with a limp? Well, that's interesting, Carter. Is there anything I can do to help you track him down?
Yes, Marston. You can give me a job, cleaning windows.
Did I hear you right, Carter? You want me to give you a what?
A job. With one of your regular crews.
Well, by all that's holy, why?
Because I have a hunch that if I'm on a window washing crew, this skyscraper killer may pay me a visit.
Well, now look here, Carter. You're out of your mind. This is the whole idea. It's crazy. You've never had any experience. This kind of work's pretty tricky and dangerous.
I'll take the chance.
You're sure you want to do this?
I am.
Okay. It's against my better judgment, but I'll give you the job. All I can say is you be careful.
Oh, don't worry, Marston. I expect to be careful. Very careful. Now, to whom do I report?
The crew boss is Al Fredericks. You'll find him in the locker room down the hall and to the left.
Well, don't you think you better come along and introduce me?
Well, no, Carter, I think I'd better stay here. I'm up to my ears in work. You go ahead. I'll phone Al from here that I'm sending you in. Oh, one more thing.
Yes?
Shall I tell him who you really are?
Might as well. If you consider him trustworthy, I may need his cooperation later. You, Al Fredericks?
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Marston told me to report to you for work. My name is Carter, Nick Carter.
Yeah, so Marston told me over the phone just now, but I don't like it. Pretty dangerous work, especially for a green hand.
Oh, I know what I'm up against.
Okay, I'll put you on the first thing in the morning. I don't know exactly what you're up to, Carter, but let me tip you off to one thing.
Yes?
Be careful.
Nick Carter's office, Patsy Bowen speaking.
Oh, hello, Patsy.
Oh.
I'm on my lunch hour. Anything doing at the office?
No, there's nothing new. Oh, Nick, for heaven's sake, will you stop this window cleaning business and come back here to the office? I've been going crazy ever since you started work this morning.
Now, Patsy, there's no point in getting jittery.
Oh, there isn't. Well, Nick, let me tell you something. I dreamed about you last night. You were crawling up the side of a big, tall building like a human fly. And then, When you almost got to the top, a huge bird swooped down and started to attack you. You tried to fight back, but you had to hang on, and you couldn't. And then all of a sudden you lost your grip and... Oh, Nick. I thought I lost you.
Now, Patsy, I'm doing fine so far. Don't worry.
Oh, all right, Nick. I'll try not to. Anything new?
No. But if the killer wants to look me up this afternoon, he'll find me on the 32nd floor of the Globe building. Good to get inside for a minute. It's cold out there. I hope he shows up pretty soon. Getting sick of this job. So you did decide to look me up after all.
Don't turn around, Carter. Keep facing that window. And get your hands up if you don't want a bullet in your back.
Well, Nick's hunch that the skyscraper killer would finally look him up turned out to be accurate with a vengeance. We'll be back to see what happens in just a moment. And now for the conclusion of the case of the careless employees. Today's Nick Carter adventure brought to you by Old Dutch Cleanser. As we pick up our story, Nick is facing the window with his hands up while the man with the limp points a gun at his back.
I see you picked out a nice empty office as usual, Marston. So you know me, eh, Carter? I do. Not that it matters much now. But how did you know? When I first met you, you mentioned the fact that you had a bad leg. Yeah, so I did. That was stupid of me, wasn't it? Very. Then later, when you refused to get up from your desk and walk with me to the locker room, I was pretty sure. Why didn't you do something about it then? Because courts require airtight evidence before they send a man to the chair, Marston. And I wanted you to tip your own hand, the way you're doing now. I figured you'd get worried and come after me. Yeah, you're a smart detective, Carter. But this time you've outsmarted yourself. Have I? You sure have. It's 32 stories to the street, Carter. You've got a one-way ticket. Down. I suppose the community corporation's paying you off to ruin your own company. Oh, no. Not the corporation. Just my friend Whaley. You see, Whaley gets a big bonus if community does a big business. I get a dividend. $25,000 for turning over to him $1 million worth of park business. I see. Now, Mr. Carter, I'm going to treat you just as I did the others. No favoritism. I'm going to tap you on the back of the head with the butt of this gun, knock you out, then I'm going to drop you out of the window. Of course, they'll never notice a little bump on your head after you hit the street. They'll call it an accident. Just an accident. Hey, don't like water in your face, do you? Too bad. You missed, Marston. You won't get another chance. Oh! Well, Mr. Marston, looks as if you're the one who suffered a little accident, not me. An accident that should please my friend Matty very much indeed.
Well, Nick, we grabbed Whaley at the airport. He's just trying to get a plane out of town.
Nice going, Matty.
Well, that makes 2 customers for the chair instead of 1.
Yeah. And if these 2 don't burn, I'll go back to pounding a beat.
Oh, Sergeant. Nick, there's still one thing I don't understand.
Yes?
You were facing the window, and Marston was in back of you with a gun.
Yeah, how did you get out of that spot, Nick?
Well, I had to take a long chance. I watched Marston's reflection in the window as he came toward me.
Yeah?
My pail of cleaning water was beside me on the sill. When he raised his gun to crack me over the head, I flipped the pail of water right over my shoulder and into his face.
And that blinded him just long enough so you could knock him out. Well, I'll be doggone.
Nice work, Nick. That's my boss, Sergeant. If he can't wash windows with his cleaning solution, he catches murderers with it.
Accident?
This, I believe. Is the American pioneering spirit dead? Some people think it died with the passing of the frontier. Henderson Suppley, Jr. says no. His work in industry, in education, and in welfare bears out his confidence. Vice President of the Atlantic Refining Company, an active trustee of schools, colleges, hospitals, and the Philadelphia Community Chest, Henderson Suppley is a man whose principles have a real effect on the life of his community. Here now is his statement of the beliefs he lives by.
I'm going to emphasize just one segment of my personal creed. One of the earliest definite influences on my life was the story of my grandfather's earliest experience. As a young man, he left his home in Pennsylvania to start a business career in Virginia. The outbreak of the Civil War forced him to abandon his new home and his business establishment. He retained only a horse and carriage, which he used to drive his wife and their infant son back to Pennsylvania, where he faced the problem of how to support a young family. Despite a series of crushing disappointments, he finally built up a small dairy business. He was always confident that the opportunity existed to achieve success if he tried persistently enough. And so the word opportunity has come to have a very intimate and significant meaning for me. In many lands, the opportunity does not exist for people to achieve beyond the positions of their birth or to rise again after they have been knocked down by misfortune. My grandfather's experience has caused me to believe that opportunity, as we know it in this country, is one of the most precious ingredients of our system. Of course, I use the term in the broad sense, the opportunity for people to carve out useful careers for the benefit of their families and communities. Opportunity by itself is empty without the prospect of satisfying reward. My concept of satisfaction may be different from somebody else's. To me, the highest satisfaction derives from achievement, and I don't mean the glorification of personal success. Thomas Carlyle's writings brought the message home to me in college. I remember his earnest lines, "Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy whole might." As a youngster, I enjoyed modeling in clay. As a businessman, I enjoy helping to model an enterprise in which men and women can profitably use their skills and resources for the benefit of themselves, their families, and the public they serve. Thus, I believe that the infinite capacity for taking pains is essential to high achievement in business and all other useful walks of life, and will be as rewarding for other earnest, thoughtful people as for the genius who molds a raw lump of clay into a museum piece. As I think about it, I have realized that even my community activities have been motivated by a strong conviction of the part that opportunity plays in our way of life. For example, most people refer to hospitals and related social agencies as charities. Some time ago, I began to work for these institutions, and they ceased to have for me the patronizing significance we associate with the term charity. Instead, I see them as necessary parts in the pattern of a community. Without them, a large city simply couldn't cope with its human problems. Through our great networks of privately supported agencies, opportunity is preserved for countless people to achieve normal and useful lives. Believing as I do that this preservation of opportunity is vital to our system, I not only feel a responsibility, but find satisfaction in helping with such enterprises. Somehow there is ample reward from the sense of better balance in my personal life and a sense of belonging to my community.
That was Henderson Suppley, Jr., a native Philadelphian who did not end his education when he left the ivy-covered halls of Princeton.
Night Beat.
Randy Stone. I cover the night beat for the Chicago Star. Stories start in many different ways. This one began with a stay of execution and ended with a doomed man finding salvation and a hunter becoming the hunted.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone.
There's an old bromide about nothing being deader than yesterday's news. But what about the people who made that news? The couple who were divorced, they've still got their tangled lives to live. The hit-and-run driver, he's still got his conscience to keep step with him wherever he walks. And the murderer on his way to the death house, his story is still with him, even though yesterday's newsprint lines the inside of today's garbage cans and provides wrapping in the fish markets. There's another old bromide the best of us have a hard time learning. It has to do with taking things for granted. And I was the wide-eyed innocent in kindergarten, my education beginning a little past midnight as I stepped out into the deserted sidewalk in front of the newspaper building.
All right, Stone.
Huh?
Don't turn around. Don't move.
Well, if this is a stick-up, you're out of luck. Payday's tomorrow.
It's John Galt, Mr. Stone.
Galt?
I said don't turn around. I escaped, Stone. I got away. Let's find your car.
How did you escape?
On the train, on the way to the death house. The guard got careless.
That his gun?
Yes.
You kill him?
No.
There's probably an alarm out for you.
Maybe they won't catch me before I do what I have to do.
And what's that?
I kept saying I was innocent, Mr. Stone. You kept saying I was guilty. The newspaper's a powerful thing. What I said, only a few people heard. What you said in your column, 1 million people heard. Come on, let's go.
I work for a newspaper, Galt. We deal in facts. Facts like a jealous husband shooting an unarmed man in the back.
Facts. When it's printed, people believe it. Even if it's a bunch of trumped-up lies.
I didn't convict you, Galt. The evidence did.
You helped. Here we are. Get in. You can drive. And no tricks. I've got nothing to lose. Nothing.
Where are we going?
To the assistant district attorney's home. He lives on Fowler between Oak and Euclid.
What do you want with him, Galt? He's just a guy doing his job, and it's a tough one.
He's figuring on getting married soon. Planning on a nice, comfortable life.
What's wrong with that?
Why don't you ask my wife? Come on, get moving.
The assistant district attorney, Philip Holmes. He'd conducted a brilliant prosecution of Galt, developed an airtight case. And now Holmes was preparing to taste the fruits of victory. His fiancée, the girl he'd wanted to marry for a year, had finally set the date. The wedding was scheduled for next Sunday. And now this. I looked over at Galt. His fingers clutched the gun like a child clutches her favorite doll. I'd have to wait, sweat it out for a while, find out what he was after, and pray for an opening. Maybe he isn't home, Galt. Maybe he's still out with his fiancée.
Shut up. Yes. Inside. What do you think? Get back in. You too, Stone.
Galt. Now, look here.
Ready for bed, Mr. District Attorney?
Yes. I heard from the police about your escape. They're looking for you, Galt.
Get dressed.
What do you expect to accomplish?
You better do as he says, Holmes.
What is this, Randy? What are you doing here?
I'm just along for the ride. This is his show.
All right, answer it. Be careful what you say, Mr. D.A.
Hello?
Philip, I just heard it on the radio. John Galt escaped.
Yes.
Oh, they called you.
Yes.
Darling, do be careful. He might come for you. He swore he'd get even with you.
Oh, there's nothing to worry about, dear.
Philly's crazy.
Say goodbye.
Huh? What's that, Phil?
Louise, he wouldn't come here, Louise. This would be the last place he'd come.
But you should have protection, Phil. Darling, if
Tell
you
her
call the
good
police,
night.
Yes. It's all right. Good night, dear.
Phil.
Good night.
Now get dressed.
What do you want?
I just told you. I want you to get dressed and hurry. Hurry! Like you hurried me through my trial. Get away from that drawer!
I want you to get dressed. I just want a pair.
I told you to get...
Don't break my hand, you...
Now his back was to me, concerned with Holmes, and for a moment he'd forgotten me. I had 3 fast steps to take, and then I grabbed his arm. Drop it! Drop that gun! Holmes, get the gun.
No, you don't. I got it. I ought to shoot now. I ought to shoot both of you now. Get back, Stone.
You can't blame me for trying, Gold. You're not acting very much like an innocent man.
Yeah, what do you expect me to do? Go quietly to the death cell and wait for a miracle? Keep on waiting for it while they shave my head and slit my trousers?
You should have thought of that before you got involved with a character like Cutler.
You were given a fair trial, Gold.
Fair trial? There was a time I had a lot of respect for law and courts and justice, but not now. From here on in, I haven't got anything to lose. But you have, Holmes, and so have you, Stone. Try it again. Try another trick. If you miss again, I'll kill you.
You'll kill us anyway, Gold, won't you?
I know I can't escape. I know I'll be caught. But when they finally catch up to me, 1 second before they kill me, I'm going to kill you.
And in the meantime?
I'm going to show you things that never got into the court. Things that'll prove that I didn't kill Monty Cutler. Then your dying will be bitter and pointless like mine is. We'll see how you like it. Ready, Mr. D.A.? We use your car. The police respect it.
Is this where you used to live, Galt?
That's right. Where I used to live.
What's here?
My wife. Wait.
You sure this is how you want it, Galt?
Just don't try anything foolish.
It's your play.
John. Oh.
Ev, you know Randy Stone, Evelyn. The one who wrote those stories about me, about us.
You're still mixed up, Galt. I'm a reporter. I don't take sides.
What is it, John? What happened?
And the district attorney, Ev.
John, what's wrong?
Get in. Get in, both of you.
You're an awfully determined host, Galt.
Over there where I can watch you.
Why are you doing this, Gold? You can't do yourself any good, and you're only making things worse for your wife.
Motive. You kept saying motive, Mr. D.A. Your whole case against me was built on what you said was my motive for killing Cutler.
I heard everything you had to say in court.
This isn't court now. There's no judge, no jury, just us. Ev, we've been in love for a long time, haven't we?
Yes. Yes, John.
Ev, you worked for Monty Cutler for years. Was there ever anything between you and him?
No.
I was never jealous of him. I had no reason.
No.
Was there any reason I'd want to kill him?
No, John.
I heard all this before.
No matter what my wife says, Mr. D.A., I'm going to die tonight. I'm going to run, and they're going to catch me. This is the last time I'll see my wife. But you'll never live to have a wife. You're going to be running with me. You're going to know how it feels to be hunted. How it is to know that this is your last night to live.
Go on, Galt.
Ev, the night I called for you at Cutler's place, the night he was shot, you'd already gone home. You said you saw a woman there earlier.
Yes, Mr. Cutler's wife.
He hadn't been living with her.
Not for years.
Just a second. The police tried to find this wife. They never found any evidence he'd been married?
No, he never was. We never found any supporting evidence that a woman was there the night of the murder.
I asked for time. Why'd you rush the trial right through, Holmes? Maybe I could have found her.
John.
Yeah. Yes, I've got to go.
John, what's going to happen?
Come on, you two. Goodbye, Ev.
Where now?
Maybe some more evidence that never got into court. Keep your eye on the road, Stone. I'll tell you where to go.
I never heard a convicted killer say he wasn't framed or up on a bum rap or he never did it. I've heard it hundreds of times, and no matter how good they make it sound, they've always got an angle. And I'd find out what Galt's was before long, too. I kept driving downtown to the west side into the manufacturing district.
Turn right at the cornerstone.
Monty Cutler's place?
No, across the street from Cutler's, the warehouse.
And what's there?
A missing witness. Maybe he's back in town now.
Who is it?
The night watchman. Come on. Out. He was there when I came to pick Evelyn up that night. I said hello to him, but nobody could find him during the trial.
Seems like a silly waste of time to me.
Time is all you have left, Holmes. You better keep hoping I manage to waste a lot of it before they close in on us.
Hey, you fellas, what do you want there? Hold on there. What is it you want? What?
Yeah, it's me, Charlie. Johnny Galt. And this is Randy Stone of the Star. And maybe you know our assistant district attorney, Mr. Holmes.
What do you want?
The answer to some questions, Charlie.
What about? What for?
About Monty Cutler's murder. And because you skipped town during my trial.
I don't know what you're talking about.
If you know anything, Charlie, tell us about it.
What could I know?
Why'd you leave town, Charlie?
I went on my vacation.
More than 4 weeks?
Yeah, sure.
Who paid for your vacation?
Nobody. What do you mean?
Tell him what he wants to know, Charlie.
Mr. District Attorney,
Go ahead, Charlie.
You want me to tell everything that happened that night, Mr. Holmes?
Why not? What difference does it make?
What difference? Well, maybe so. I said hello to you, Mr. Galt. You remember that?
Sure.
And before that...
What?
Well, before that, this woman come around.
Which woman, Charlie?
I've been a watchman here a long time. I see her a few times, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. She used to come around.
Cutler's wife.
I don't know whether she was or not.
How long before I got there, Charlie?
Maybe a half hour, I guess.
How long did she stay there?
I don't know. Mr. District Attorney, you sure you want me to spill this?
Why, yes. Yes, Charlie. There's no mystery, is there?
Well, there was a car there, too.
What car?
Big limousine.
Go on, Charlie. Which big limousine?
The district attorney's car.
My car?
The DA's car?
Yes.
Were you raiding Cutler's roulette wheel, Holmes?
No, that's it.
That's it. That explains everything. You were there. That's why you refused me a delay to uncover the truth.
No, don't jump to conclusions.
How does it feel, Holmes? Why not jump to conclusions? You've been doing it a long time. It all falls into place, the whole pattern. You're rushing me through the trial, not giving me a chance. Piling up circumstantial evidence.
Could it have been your car, Holmes?
I don't know. Perhaps a lot of people have access to it.
That'll be worth finding out about, Holmes.
Yes. Yes, I'll look into it.
Oh, yeah, I can just believe that. I can just see you putting your neck in a noose for me.
Galt, you said it before. A newspaper's a pretty powerful thing. With this evidence, we
You
can...
expect me to trust you after all those stories about how guilty I was?
Well, this would make a better story.
Sure. The story of Randy Stone bringing in an escaped murderer would be swell for you.
Look, you've established enough doubt so that we can...
You'd say anything to save your skin. You'd promise anything. We'll save it for your readers. They believe what you say.
The streets are honeycombed with police. How far do you expect to get?
At least one more place before they catch up.
Where go?
The woman, Mr. District Attorney. Cutler's wife. The one you said doesn't exist. But does it matter? Wherever we go, you'd better keep hoping nobody stops us. Us. Because as soon as they do, it'll be the end of the line for all of us.
Well, Randy, you're a fast guy with an answer, so answer this one. Or are you looking for an angle? You've heard 100 convicted killers say they're innocent. You're tired of listening. You know they're lying. But here's the 101st, Randy. Maybe he hasn't got any angle. Maybe he's telling the truth. And if he is, it makes sense for him to feel that there's no answer. And he's got to keep running with the cops and everybody waiting for him with guns and with cars. Because he can shout his lungs out and nobody will listen. He can yell and cry and scream that he's not guilty. And they'll still drag him down the long corridor and make him step over the next to last threshold. What would you do if you were him, Randy? And the DA's car, how does that figure? Galt wasn't taking any chances now. He forced Holmes and me to burrow into the well below the dashboard. He got behind the wheel, driving with one hand, his other hand gripping his gun. The DA's car was plush, but it wasn't designed to make a passenger comfortable doubled up. If I was subject to claustrophobia, there was never a better time for it to come out.
Hang on. There's a barricade ahead. We're going through it. There'll be a fool going.
About the only thing I could see was the gas accelerator and Galt's foot. And suddenly the foot went way down, jamming the pedal against the floor.
Here it comes. This is how it feels.
I remember something about letting your body relax when you're heading for a smash-up. But how can you relax with your knee propped against your chin? I clipped my jaw tight and said a fast prayer.
Like this, Stone, like this!
NBC is bringing you Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone. This Wednesday marks the return to the air of Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman in their popular roles as the Halls of Ivy. The delightful adventures of Professor Hall and his wife Vicky mean 30 minutes of top listening for the entire family. And on Wednesday, October 4th, that remarkable mustache that walked like a man, Groucho Marx, will be on NBC with his hilarious quiz game, You Bet Your Life. It's 30 minutes of fun and prizes, the biggest prize of all being Groucho, of course. And now back to Night Beat and Randy Stone.
It wasn't particularly comfortable under the dashboard of the car, but it was a good place to be with bullets on the loose and an escaped murderer at the wheel. The car skidded and danced through the barricade and then gave a surge and swept on.
How's it feel, you guys? How's it feel to be the boss for a change?
Let us get out of here and I'll tell you. What's that?
I don't know. Gas. They hit the gas tank. I'm out of gas. All right, get out.
Now, wait, hold on a minute. There's no sense in this, Galt.
Get moving. I'm out of gas, but not out of bullets.
Before you do something that can't be undone, Galt, think a minute. There'll be a real investigation. We'll go...
We gotta make those woods.
Holmes, what about it? If he's innocent,
I'll give you my word. Come on. Faster. They'll be here in a minute. Faster.
Oh, listen. I thought I was being fair. The trial, I believe there wasn't any valid reason for a postponement. I've always conducted myself according to strict letter of the law. Now if I've made a mistake...
Save it, Holmes. All right. Hold it. You get behind that tree, Holmes. Stone, behind that bush. It's not too dark for me to see you. One move and I shoot.
We know you're there. Come out with your hands up.
The two cops in the patrol car were sitting ducks with the moon behind them. They were coming slowly, their guns drawn. If Galt wanted to shoot, he couldn't have a better target.
Stay back. Stay back.
But they kept coming, not seeing any of us, straight for the bush behind which I stood.
Mr. Holmes, are you there?
Yes. Yes, don't shoot.
Don't come any closer. I'm warning you.
We're coming in.
I said stay back. I'll shoot.
Come on.
Galt fired from less than 15 feet, but the shot hit one of them. It didn't stop him. They both came on. I counted 1, 2, and then the cop in front was close enough. I braced myself, and I let him have it. Sometimes you have to do the darndest things to help a guy. My haymaker hurt the cop, but not as much as Galt's bullet would have. The other cop was on me now. I twisted. I rolled away. He sent a whistling blow past my ear. He was a heavy guy, real heavy as he landed on my kidney, and I tried to squirm away, and then suddenly the cop's weight slid off my back. I turned, and Galt's face, twisted and maniacal, looked down at me, his gun raised.
Get up, Stone. You two, Holmes. They're out cold. Cops will be swarming all over here in a few minutes.
Wherever we go, they'll find.
Now you know how it is. To be the hunted instead of the hunter.
How long do you think we're last in these woods?
The freight yards are close by. I said, come on, both of you. Run! Come on, run!
You can read about it. You can see it in the movie. But you never really know how it feels to be the quarry in an honest-to-death game of fox and hounds until you've had it. We were running, but there'd have to be a dead end, and soon. And that'd be the time that Galt, half crazy with bitterness and hate, would turn his gun on us to make sure that he took us with him. We made it to the freight yards, and Galt steered us to one of a long line of boxcars.
Okay, here's an empty freight. Get in. In that corner. Sit down.
Now, for a little while, I thought maybe you were innocent, Galt.
Ask Holmes whether I am or not. Ask him what his car was doing to Monte Cutler's. Maybe he lost too much at the roulette wheel in the upstairs room.
You didn't like it when they used that kind of thinking in court.
When the cops came after us, what did Holmes do? He just stood there waiting.
What did you expect me to do?
Maybe what Stone did. He didn't just stand there hoping the cops would kill me like you were hoping. That would have fixed it up fine for you, wouldn't it, Holmes?
You're all crossed up, Galt. I helped knock them out because I didn't want them killed.
They're coming, Galt. Galt, while you still have time. If you give yourself up, I'll make every effort to get at the truth.
I know the truth. You killed Cutler.
You talk about motive, Galt. What's my motive? Why would I kill him?
There's something beyond that, too. A man neither has it in to kill or he hasn't, Galt. When you shot at the cops back there, it proved something.
I didn't shoot at them. How could I have missed them so close? I shot in the air to scare them off.
You're going to scare them off now? They're pretty close. They'll be here next.
All right, you tell me. It's up to both of you. When that door opens, I'm going to shoot. We'll find out who's the murderer. All right, Holmes. Tell me what to do. Shall I shoot them or you? Them or you?
Listen, they're still away. You can hide. I'll tell them you ran away. They'll believe me.
Yeah, you must think I'm an idiot. Well, Stone, you said a man is either a murderer or he isn't. How about you? Are you a murderer? They're hunting you now, too. They'll be here in a second. If I shoot them, we can still have a little time. How about it, Stone?
You'll do what's in you to do, Galt.
Quick. Holmes, quick. What'll it be?
Oh, you crazy fool. I didn't kill Cutler. I swear to you I didn't. All right. All right, come on out of there.
The cop's flashlight played around. Galt got to his feet. I could see his gun raised, but he was standing stock still, frozen. I jumped to my feet, but not as quickly as Holmes.
Don't shoot. It's me, the district attorney. Galt, for heaven's sake.
And then he stopped. Galt still stood there. The cops moved in, their flashlight beam steady on Galt's tortured face. And then the tenseness went out of his features. He turned to the district attorney, dropping his gun on.
I can't shoot.
Maybe you did prove something, Galt, right now.
What was your motive, Holmes? Doesn't matter now, does it? You gotta have a motive to kill somebody. It has to be a pretty good motive, too. Because even with what I have against you, I still can't kill you.
Everything all right, Mr. Holmes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Galt. Come along.
He didn't kill Monte Cutler.
No.
You didn't either.
No.
It was your car.
I don't know. I suppose maybe it was.
Galt wanted to take us to one more place, Holmes.
Cutler's wife.
Yeah, we'll have to find out where she lives.
Yes, I'd like to stop off at Louisa's first, Randy. She's probably worried about me. It's close by.
Sure. We drove back away with a patrol car, and then Holmes and I caught a cab. It was only a 10-minute drive to his fiancée's place. The DA was quiet. I didn't feel like talking either. We were awful close to eternal silence back there in the freight car. Maybe that was in Holmes's mind, too. Or maybe he was thinking about the woman he was going to marry. A uniformed elevator operator took us up to the 4th floor. The swank apartment house was good for my jumping nerves after the rough night. Deep carpets and subdued lights everywhere. I began to feel myself unwinding.
Darling. Oh, darling, thank heaven you're all right.
Louise, this is Randy Stone.
Oh, please come in.
Thank you. 3 in the morning is a pretty weird hour to come calling.
I couldn't sleep anyhow. I've been glued to the radio. Must have been terrible for you. For both of you.
Louise.
Would you like some hot coffee?
Louise, there was a moment when...
Darling, you mustn't think about it anymore. I know it was horrible. Mr. Stone, wouldn't you like some coffee?
No, thank you.
Promised to kill us, Louise. There was that moment when he could have. What stopped him, Randy?
I think it was because he wasn't sure you killed Cutler.
Yes. Yes, he couldn't figure a motive for me. Isn't that a peculiar little thing, Louise?
Let's not think about it
If he'd
anymore.
known I did have a motive, if he'd known the woman I wanted to marry was Monty Cutler's wife, he wouldn't have hesitated. The rest of the evidence was all there.
Phil.
He could have killed us. And he didn't. He's an honest man. Far more honest than I was. Because all along I kept pushing the thought out of my mind. I didn't want to let myself think that John Galt might not be guilty.
Phil, it's all over now. It's finished.
Louise, why didn't you tell me you were Cutler's wife? Because Cutler was a gambler and a racketeer?
Phil, Mr. Stone is here. Phil.
Maybe I ought to let you handle this alone.
No. Oh, Randy, I want you to hear this. You see, it's understandable that we couldn't find Cutler's wife. Louise was out of town, weren't you, Louise?
Phil.
I'd loaned the car to you, Louise. You were using the car that night.
I didn't know that Galt would be there. I didn't want to implicate anybody.
Kind of makes me an accomplice, doesn't it?
No. I did it for us. You've got no part in it. I did it. Because I love you, Phil.
Randy?
Yeah, home.
Will you come with us? Down to headquarters.
Yeah, I've got an apology to make down there, too. That old bromide that I was talking about, it's don't jump to conclusions. It's an easy habit to get into. At work, at home, with the people we know and love. I got my education all over again with Johnny Galt, and I didn't learn with books. Playing for keeps is a tough way to learn, but maybe it lasts longer that way. I hope so. Copy boy. Where is that copy boy? Probably sneaking a beer at the corner. Oh, there I go, jumping to conclusions again. Copy boy.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy, is produced and directed by Warren Lewis and edited by Larry Marcus. Tonight's story was written by Selig Lester and Merwin Gerard, with music by Frank Worth. The part of Galt was played by Jeff Corey. Others in tonight's cast were Gene Bates, Francis Cheney, Eddie Fields, Hal Gerard, and John Stevenson. Frank Lovejoy will next be seen in Milton Sperling's production Three Secrets, released by Warner Brothers. Listen next week at this time and every week as Randy Stone searches through the city for the strange stories waiting for him in the darkness. Night Beat came to you from Hollywood. Three chimes mean good times on NBC. Fibber McGee and Molly and all their delightful guests at 79 Wistful Vista will be back on Tuesday, September 19th. Doc Gamble, Mayor Latrivia, and the entire cast will be on hand to join in the merriment. 2 weeks after that, the happy chimes ring for the return of Bob Hope, with laughs and more laughs in the unique Hope style. Three chimes mean good times on NBC.
This I believe. Dr. Henry A. Murray is a professor in the Department of Social Relations at Harvard University. For 15 years, he headed the Harvard Psychological Clinic, and during World War II served as a lieutenant colonel in the Office of Strategic Services. His degrees include an M.D. from Columbia University and a Ph.D. from Cambridge University in England. He is the author of Explorations in Personality and other books in the field of psychology. His usual occupation is examining and evaluating the mental processes of others, but now he looks carefully at his own thoughts. Here is Professor Henry Murray.
I believe that the word believe is, in its various meanings, slippery as a snake, and like the fabled snake, all too apt, in a bewildered age like ours, to lead us into evil, the evil of hypocrisy. The word comes as a temptation to retreat for peace of soul, to some pious platitude or comforting banality, rather than brave the realization that we have not yet conceived a sufficient remedy for the agues of our time. Experience has taught me to believe in no fixation of beliefs, but in the exciting process of perpetually reconstructing them in order to encompass new facts, experiences, and conditions. This, as I see it, is the essence and responsibility of freedom. I am strongly inclined to shun inert ideas and cleave to live ones, born out of joy or tribulation, that demand embodiment in action. As for personal history, I confess to constant gratefulness for the belief-engendering delights of mutual love, fellowship, nature, travel, literature, and the vocation of psychology. My faith in the potential value of psychology has never wavered, but I cast no vote for the omnipotence of science, and am appalled by the popular assumption that what is good for the machine is good for man. I believe, of course, in the cardinal virtues of honesty, courage, charity, and dedication, and am still trying to bring my atom into line with them. But the reiteration of these verities is evidently not enough, since after more than 2,000 years of earnest preaching, that large part of the human race which appears, in its own eyes, most advanced in these respects, is on the verge of proving itself an utter failure. The gravity of the world's strait, in truth, has so overshadowed my own vibrations and fruitions that I have come to believe that nothing is of signal significance today save those thoughts and actions which in some measure purpose to contribute to the diagnosis and alleviation of the global neurosis which so affects us. There will be no freedom for any exuberant form of life, in my estimation, without freedom from atomic war, and no freedom from war without a democratic world government and police force, and no world government without a radical conversion and re-education of thousands of personalities in the light of a new conception, synthesis of Eastern and Western wisdom. Many persons from one angle or another have envisaged the shadowy contours of such a faith, one which portrays the path of development through mutual affections and reciprocations, interpersonal, intercorporate, and international, as more gratifying, maturing, beneficent, and creative than the rewards of unitary ambition, conflict, and vainglorious superiority. Present conditions, however, are so extremely unfavorable to an evolutionary advance of such scale and scope that we would be well advised to prepare our sinews for a long and protracted era of ferocity and anguish until our devils are subdued and our eyes opened.
They're the creed of Professor Henry A. Murray of Boston, Massachusetts, a psychologist and teacher who is deeply concerned with the problems which confront each of us as individuals and our society as a whole.
Here's Dick Powell as Richard Diamond, private detective.
Good afternoon, Mr. Diamond.
Oh, afternoon, Ed.
Have a good lunch, Mr. Diamond?
Too early to tell.
Hey, you must shave with a dull razor. You got a scratch on your face.
I use a rake.
Here's your floor, Mr. Diamond.
Thanks, Ed. Well, customers. Good afternoon, gentlemen. What can I do for you?
Oh, that was nifty, Ziggy. Is that Diamond?
Yeah, Chino. That's him.
Pick him up and drag him over to the chair, Ziggy.
Sure thing, Chino. He's really out.
Yeah. See if you can bring him around. Be a shame if he missed anything.
Chino, would you mind holding my ash can handle? It might break his jaw.
A pleasure, Ziggy.
Diamond. He looks like he ain't gonna make it. Maybe you slapped him too hard.
You hurt me, Ziggy. You know how careful I am. Here. Try this pitcher of water.
I felt like I was lying in the middle of a crowded sink and someone had piled all the dishes on my head. They turned on the faucet and I floated up with a dirty coffee cup and took a look around. I treaded water and squinted through my dewy eyelids at two of the ugliest dishwashers I'd ever seen.
He's twitching.
Oh.
See, Ziggy, he's just lazy. Diamond, let us know when things start making sense.
Oh, that's a dirty trick.
Oh, he's talking screwy. What's a dirty trick, Diamond?
I'm stuck in the drain. I think you hit him too hard. He's liable to be talking like that from now on.
Give it time. Diamond, you'll pull yourself out.
Yeah. How did you monkeys get in here anyway?
He's back. Now go to work, Ziggy, but keep him with us.
Hey, wait a minute.
Oh! That's enough, Ziggy. Can you hear me, Diamond?
He don't like it. He's going to be hard to get along with.
Belt him across the ears. He'll listen. Hear me now?
He's nodding his head. I guess he wants to keep his mouth shut so the teeth don't fall out.
Fine. Now listen, Diamond. When you get a call from a Mr. Barton, turn down the job. Understand? Ziggy, see if he's tuned in.
Oh. Yeah, Chino. He says now he's got his shirt on.
Remember, Mr. Barton, you don't want to work for him. Think he gets it?
Sure, Chino, but he looks tired from the strain.
Oh. Then put him to sleep, Ziggy.
Nighty-night, Don. He didn't have to say nighty-night. It was only 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He tapped me once more with a galvanized sleeping pill and tucked me away for a rest. The next thing I knew, a pair of gray suede gloves were patting my sore face. Maybe he didn't want to leave any fingerprints on my bruises.
Mr. Diamond, can you hear me?
Oh, you know, this can get monotonous. Go away.
Should I call the police, Mr. Diamond?
What? Oh, I was expecting uglier company.
Could you sit up? I'm getting some of your blood on my shoes.
That's tough. I'll turn it off. I'll bet your name's Barton.
Why, that's right. How did you know?
I'm lucky. Now get out of here.
But I want to talk to you.
I just had one long conversation, but it was too one-sided. Go on. My health is doubtful, but it's fun to have it around for company.
Maybe $500 would pick you up?
It might, for a while, but I don't like to waste that kind of money on funerals.
$750?
So they line the coffin with velvet.
$1,000.
You're begging to make a short life sound practical.
If you do the job successfully, there'll be another $1,000.
You just bought yourself a corpse. Let me wash out. Talk some more. I can hear you.
It's my son, Roger. He thinks he killed a man.
He thinks? What do you want me to do? Find out for sure so I can brag about it?
Ever heard of a John Alter?
Sure. Walt Levinson sent him up 5 years ago on a manslaughter rap.
Well, he doesn't like it up there, and he'd like to get out.
I don't blame him. What's this got to do with your son?
I'm chairman of the parole board. Oh, you look much better now, Mr. Diamond. I can't stand the sight of blood.
It doesn't bother me. It happens every week. So, you're the chairman of the parole board.
Yes, some of Alter's friends promised to keep quiet about my son if I let Alter go free when he comes up before the board next week.
And you think maybe your son was framed?
Yes, about a month ago, he met a girl in Florida. Her name is Lenore Brown, and she's a friend of Alter's.
How did they spring the frame?
I beg your pardon? You must associate with a higher type thug. Spring the frame. Made it look like your son killed somebody.
Oh. Well, when Roger, that's my son, went to pick up the Lenore girl at her apartment, he found her struggling with some man.
That happens.
It looked like he was trying to kill her. There was a gun on the floor, and she called to Roger for help. He picked up the gun and shot the man. She told Roger he had killed him and that he must get out. When we went back, they were both gone. About a month later, some of Alter's friends got in touch with me.
Oh, and they forget about the killing if you let Alter out of Sing Sing.
That's right.
I don't remember reading anything about it in the papers.
Well, you're the first one outside of Alter and his friend who know anything about it. You see, they say they're hiding the corpus delicti, so there was no report of the murder.
Keeping a stiff handy isn't that easy. Why didn't you call the law?
If my son did kill this man, that's the first thing I intend doing. But I have a feeling this man is not dead.
Oh, you think maybe they staged the killing? Put blanks in the gun, and after your son beat it, the stiff walked out under his own steam?
That's what I want you to find out. If my son is innocent, I want you to bring the parties responsible to justice.
Amen.
Here's a check for $1,000. If you find the girl and prove my son innocent, there'll be another $1,000 in your pocket.
I'll sort the holes. Well, thanks, Mr. Barton. I'll start right away.
Goodbye, Mr. Diamond. You can reach me at the Wentworth Hotel. I'm staying there until this matter gets cleared up.
I won't get in touch with you unless I find something. The guys who worked me over are pretty set in their ways, and there's no sense in you tripping over a lot of dead bodies. I looked at the $1,000 check and thought about the beating the two polite gunsos had given me. It was a toss-up. If I'd spent the $1,000 like I knew I would, I'd be dead anyway. The two goons were probably still hanging around my building, and if they spotted me, they'd guess I'd taken the job. When I get more than $10 in my pocket, I smile all over. I went out the back way and through the alley. Had to start somewhere, so I headed for the 5th Precinct Police Station. When you're looking for a killer, homicide's got all the road maps on murder. An old friend and ex-partner was in charge. The men who worked the detail called him Lieutenant Levinson, but he had a couple of friends who still called him Walt. I was one of them. You earned that right when you worked for a guy for 6 years. After I left the force, Walt started doing a solo, but he now had a sergeant who stumbled around after him. His name was Otis, and he had the biggest feet in the state of New York. Every time he took off his shoes, I wanted to grab a champagne bottle and launch them. I don't think he liked me. When I walked in, his face always looked like an advertisement for a sour stomach.
Well, Richard Diamond, private detective.
Well, Sergeant Otis, homicide's answer to the missing link.
What was that last word?
Well, you're half safe. I said link. Walt in?
Yeah. You turn the knob and you push.
Why don't you get that uniform clean? Some day's going to get up and walk to the station without you.
Well, hello, Rick. If you got... Yeah. You must get tired changing your face every day. Somebody shove you around again?
Been catching up on my patty cake, Walt. Tell me, did you ever know a bit of fluff named Lenore Brown?
Sure, John Alter's expense account. Used to hold hands before I sent him up.
Know where I can find it?
Alter's still got her staked out. Whenever you stir, he's going to come back and dig up the claim. You better forget about it. She's got the antidote for lonely nights, but some of Alter's boys are protecting her.
I know, yeah. They gave me a pep talk this afternoon.
And then listen to him. Better watching your game from the bench.
Oh, you never can tell. I might make a score.
Well, you're outweighed, outclassed, and liable to be outlived. She used to work at the Black Swan in Florida. Heard Alder was trying to get a parole, and she came to New York to be close to him.
Any lying on her here in town?
No, but if she's seeing Alder, you might spot her on a business day. And now, look, Rick, why don't you stop chasing two-bit thugs and come back on the force? I never had ulcers when we were working together.
You know how I feel about that, Walt. I'm a restless guy. Sometimes I like to sleep late in the morning.
Okay, Rick. Want me to call the warden and tell him you're coming?
Yeah, thanks, Walt. Take it easy.
Bye, Rick. Be a good boy.
Yes, Paul?
Mr. Richard Diamond to see you, Warden.
Oh, send him in.
You can go on in, Mr. Diamond.
Thanks, Paul.
Well, Rick, how are you? It's been a long time.
I know a lot of guys who wouldn't like to hear that, Warden. How are you, Jim?
That's right. What's on your mind?
I hear Johnny Alter's been having company. I'd like to take a look at her.
Oh, Miss Brown. Well, I can't blame you.
I just want to spot her and see where she goes.
You can't miss. If she walked through the yard, there'd be a jailbreak tomorrow.
What time are visiting hours?
Well, if she's seeing Alter today, she should be downstairs right now. Pardon me a second.
Yes, Warden.
Paul, has Lenore Brown come in today?
Yes, she has, Warden. She's in seeing Alter right now.
Thanks, Paul. She's downstairs, Rick. Like to take a look?
Yeah. I'll have Paul take you down. On second thought, I'll go myself. There she is, sitting at the end table talking to Alder.
Oh, now I know why Alder needs a lot of money. She's wearing it up in mink to carpet Radio City.
You should get a load of her on a warm day.
Coat doesn't stop me. She'd show up, even if she's wearing a tent. How long has she got with Alder?
About another 5 minutes.
Warden, maybe I'll let you put me away for a couple of years. With something like that to look forward to on Visitor's Day, I might go for the change.
Well, you'd get tired of just talking. Think what you could do on the outside.
Yeah, I am, but it would probably send me right back up here.
You want to stick around till she's through talking?
Thanks, Jim. I'll wait in front till she comes out. I hung around by the big gray buildings until she came out. She walked over to a long white convertible and got in. Now I know what the guy meant when he wrote, "Ask the man who owns one." I decided to let her buy me a new fuse, and I walked over to the car. Going to town?
Oh? Back up 3 feet, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Your tailor couldn't do all of that.
Thanks.
Get in. Visiting?
Yeah, the warden's an old friend.
How many years did you know him?
Baby. I've been going home every night all my life.
Every night?
Well, almost.
What do you do with the almost?
Depends. Everybody likes something different.
You must get tired thinking up new ideas.
Oh, I don't think much. It's more fun being surprised. What are you stopping for? We just got started.
Surprise?
Oh, yeah. And the nickel-plated one. Look, baby, you don't have to pull a gun. If I'm getting fresh, I'll get out and walk.
You'll sit right there, Diamond.
Oh, name dropper.
Mm-hmm.
Expecting company?
Mm-hmm, and you've met them before, honey.
That's nice. I wouldn't want you to get stuck with the introductions. That's your friends coming along in that car?
It should be. Now hold real still. They'll only shoot you this time.
Sometimes you're lucky. When a dame's got a gun on you, you don't stand much of a chance unless she's got her mind on something else. This one did. And when she looked up in the rearview mirror to make sure it was her boys, I tagged her. My 2 playmates were just pulling up in the green sedan when I went out of the car like a dry transmission.
There he is. He's slipping up. Nail it.
He let go just as I dived off the side of the road and hit the center embankment. I rolled at the bottom and came up looking like an exhibit for smallpox.
He's down the hill. Go get him, Ziggy.
There was a line of trees just off to the right, and I got to them just as Ziggy tried again. He needed a rifle. I was running through the trees then, and I could hear Ziggy somewhere behind me falling all over himself. I pulled my gun and thought about waiting for him. I could give him so many holes he'd whistle in a high wind, but I had another idea. I stopped and listened.
He's around here somewhere. Well, come on, we'll spread out.
That tore it right down the middle. They were somewhere behind me, and both of them were looking.
Get off of me, you melon head. I got on a new suit. Oh, my deepest apologies, Gino. I thought you was Diamond. Can't you tell the difference, Ziggy? He's got on a blue suit. Oh, I'm a little colorblind. Now let's find Diamond.
They started hunting again, and I cut off to my left and headed back to the highway. I reached the hill that sloped down from the highway, and I went up fast. The cars were about 100 yards down the road, and I used my last lung getting there. Lenore was still out, just like I'd left her when I put her to sleep. I went over to the Gunsel's car and lifted the hood. Chino and Ziggy could apologize all night while they looked for a new distributor. I went back to the white convertible with the unconscious nylons and got in. I noticed something lying on the seat. It was her purse, and she didn't wake up when I grabbed it. Doing a rummage job at 80 miles an hour isn't easy. But there wasn't much of interest anyway, just a little black book. I needed a gimmick, so I stuck it in my pocket. I put the purse back on the seat just as she started coming around. Well, now that's it, baby. Sit up and look at the pretty scenery.
How did you get here? Where's Ziggy and Chino?
Playing Peter Pan. Jaw hurt?
Yes, you heal.
Play rough and you get hurt. Where do I take you?
My apartment, I guess. You're going to ask a lot of questions, and I don't talk much. We might as well figure out something to fill in the lull.
I drove to her place on East 51st and walked into the door. She looked at me like a fat woman eyeing a French pastry, and her mouth slipped down to her shoelaces when I gave her a peck on the cheek and left her standing with an old front doorknob in her hand. I knew she wasn't going to spill anything, even if I got her drunk. Besides, she could probably drink Tony Galeno under the table and still be sober enough to play hopscotch. I went back to the office and took out her little black book. There were a lot of names, and some of them I knew. Chino, and after it, likes his work. And Ziggy, and after his name, has own gun. Yeah, Richard Diamond, too. I never did figure out what the 3 stars were for. I forgot all about my date with Helen when the phone rang. Yeah?
Hello, Rick.
this is Fangwu Sanjay Tapko
Now, Fangwu, call Mr. Richard Diamond to the phone chop. He's got a date and she doesn't like being stood up.
Hello, Helen.
Hi. What was all that about? Forget you had a date with me?
Yeah, I did. And I'm sorry, baby, but right now I'm being chased like a hopped-up fox, and I haven't had time to curl up and relax.
You're impossible.
I know it. Want your sorority pen back?
Well, I'll make up my mind when you get here.
I'll give you my Lone Ranger magic decoder.
You fool.
Are we still going steady?
Oh, yes. Rick, when am I going to see you?
Honey, right now I got some reading to do. Why don't you go to a movie? Little Women Past the Senses. I'll be over later.
I'll probably end up marrying an usher. Don't be too late, Rick.
I won't. Besides, we get along better early in the morning.
Bye.
Bye, baby. I sat there for a minute thinking about Helen Asher and wondering why I hadn't learned how to butter my bread. She was everything a guy should want. $10 million playing multiplication in a fat trust fund. A figure that would snarl of any quiet intersection. And a mind that would give a master's degree in inferiority complex. Diamond, you fool, you. Well, Lenore Brown's little black book was a poor substitute for an evening with Helen, but 3 items put me in second gear. They weren't hard to find. Take out all the men's names, and there they were, 3 addresses. One was in the village, another in Harlem, and the last was somewhere in Chinatown. All of them were a setup for a dead man who wanted to make himself scarce. I wanted to talk with Barton before I started hunting, so I called the Wentworth.
Wentworth Hotel.
Mr. Barton, please.
Yes, sir. I'll ring him.
Hello?
Mr. Barton, this is Diamond.
Oh, yes, Diamond. Did you find out anything yet?
Not yet, but tell me, did your son tell you what his victim looked like?
Why, yes. He said he was a dark man with a scar from his nose to his chin. He said he'd never forget it.
Oh, well, thanks. Maybe I'll call you tomorrow.
I hope you clear this thing up in a hurry.
So do I. I want to get my nerves untangled. I took the easy address first, grabbed a cab, and 20 minutes later I was walking down the steps of a little dive on the east side of Greenwich Village. It was a shabby little place, and the customers had enough long hair to give a toupee deal to the DTs. A fat waiter walked over and eyed my clean shirt. He was wearing an apron that looked like he'd made the salad on it. He was swell.
You wanted something, Mac?
Yeah, a pound of egg noodles. Just sweep them up off the floor. Do you know anyone named Lenore?
Lenore. Oh, sure, Lenore Brown. She comes in here about once a week, listens to the kid at the piano. No, why would a classy thing like that go out with him? He don't play the piano so good.
You ever see a guy with her? Dark man with a scar from his nose to his chin?
No. She always does a single.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Hey, you still want those noodles?
I walked out, got back in the cab, and marked off Greenwich Village in the little black book. The second address was on the fringe of Harlem, the Hill, they call it. The night was black, and the fog had rolled in off the East River and staked out a claim all the way to Lenox Avenue. As I walked up to the old brownstone, my nerves started screaming SOS. I stopped cold and looked down at 2 gleaming eyes, like 2 pieces of polished glass shining in the glare of the dim street lamp. As I got used to the darkness, I could make him out. He was a big, white, battle-scarred bulldog, and he had some ideas of his own. He started shuffling in slowly, jerking back his lips and showing a row of white teeth.
Hold it, Lucifer.
I hadn't heard him come out on the porch. He was a big man wearing an off-white undershirt. And from what I could see, he looked meaner than his dog. The animal stopped, but he kept facing me, showing off his toothpaste smile.
He won't hurt you, mister, unless I tell him to.
Well, think about it for a while. I'm a poor substitute for horse meat.
What do you want?
Do you know a Lenore Brown?
You a cop?
Shamus.
Beat it, Lucifer.
Thanks, pal. I couldn't hold my breath much longer.
You can come up on the porch. You're looking for Lenore Brown, huh?
Yeah, know her?
I met her. My wife works for her.
Is your wife in?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Come here. Some private dick wants to talk to you. She's Miss Brown's private maid.
Yeah.
Your husband tells me you work for Miss Brown.
Yeah, what's she done?
She got many friends?
Men friends.
No. You know a dark man with a scar?
Oh, sure, I know lots of them.
What are you talking about, woman?
Oh, I met someone who Miss Brown knows.
What did you mean by that, mister?
Look, I really don't know anybody with a scar. Now you better beat it.
Yeah. Get moving. And I want to talk to you, woman. Get in there.
Here, Connie.
I knew she was going to get bruised, but he looked rough enough to cut my windpipe, and I wanted someplace to pour my coffee down in the morning. So I got out of there fast and headed for the last address in the little black book. The place was on one of those narrow, dark streets. It was so quiet you could hear yourself change your mind. A sign above the door read Tangy, so I pushed it open and went in. If I didn't find a man with a scar here, I was out on strikes. It was a little restaurant on the bottom floor of a two-story building. A quiet waiter slipped up and showed me to a booth. He shoved the menu in my hand and disappeared before I could ask him anything. The place was empty except for an old couple sitting near the door. The waiter said something to them, and they looked quickly over at me, and then they left in a hurry. The room was completely empty now. Even the waiter had disappeared. I looked up at a flight of stairs at the far end of the room. A pair of very healthy ankles came into view, and they were holding up a pair of legs that ran my blood pressure up to 190 again. I eased my gun out and held it under the table. Lenore turned the corner and started down toward my booth like a loose snake in a rabbit pen.
Mind if I sit down?
It's your party.
Shame on you. Don't you know it's not nice to pilfer a lady's handbag? Now, Mama will have to thank.
Looks like the last address paid off.
If you're buying shrouds, it did.
Where's the guy that young Barton was supposed to have killed?
Upstairs. But he's very unsociable. Hates long conversations.
I only need a couple of lines.
He can't even do that. He likes to keep on breathing.
Old man Barton figures Alter framed his son. He's not going to let your boyfriend out of Sing Sing until he finds a man with a scar.
Think he can do better than you did?
I found him.
Was it worth dying for?
I don't know. I can tell you better after I talk to him.
Mama's going to have to spank sooner than she expected. Come in, boys.
Well, look who's here. Are Mama's two big idiots out collecting blood again? Where are your buckets?
Oh, he's bitter.
President!
You've met Chino and Ziggy before, haven't you?
Yeah, on the end of a fist.
They want to show you the town.
I know the beat.
I'll bet you've never seen it from the bottom of the East River.
No, but if you'll put on a bathing suit, I might buy the idea.
Too bad we'll never make the beach together. I'd like to show you the sights. Boys, you better help Mr. Diamond out of the booth. I think he's stuck. You know how it is. The boys like to keep moving.
So do I. I shot once and caught Ziggy in the stomach, and I dumped the table over on Chino. He grabbed like he was going to waltz with it. I didn't even have to get up. I just shot him through the cover shot. Lenore was out of the booth fast and running for the stairs.
Look out, Tony, look out!
I caught up with her at the foot of the stairs, and as she started up, I saw him, standing on the upper landing, scar and all meaning gun in his hand. He missed me, but nailed her halfway up. She spun around and fell all over me. But I point a gun pretty good from a prone position. You should have kept your nose up, mister. A bad landing washes you out. I called Lieutenant Levinson, squared myself. Then homicide came down and cleaned things up. They were all dead, and I figured I never would reach the beach anyway. I phoned Barton, who took his son down to the morgue to look over the night's take. Young Barton identified the man with the scars, the one he thought he'd killed. They gave me the notch, and I made another call. This time to a pair of silk pajamas with an understanding heart. It was late, but I was hungry.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Diamond. Isn't it rather late to be calling?
You know something? You're right, Francis. It's 2 a.m. Time for all good butlers to be Betty by.
Miss Helen is in the library, but I'm not sure whether she wants to see you.
Well, you just run along and get some sleep. I'll find out and let you know.
Very good, sir. Confidentially, she's a little peeved.
Look.
Chin up, Mr. Diamond.
Francis, if she gets tough with me, I'll knock her teeth out.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Francis, is that who I think it was? Oh.
Hi.
The food was cold a long time ago.
So's my date. I'm sorry, honey.
Oh, that's all right.
The fire's almost burned out.
It's 2:00 in the morning, Mr. Diamond. I've sat through 2 features of Tom and Jerry and the 4th chapter of Batman, Hops of Freight.
Oh, come on, don't scold, baby.
I haven't in weeks, but I've been rehearsing this for the past 2 hours, and you're going to listen. And that's another thing. You never play when I want you to. Only when I've got you on the carpet.
That sounds like fun.
Now, stop being glib. If you think for 1 minute you can charm me...
Out of your face with the sunshine, put on a great big smile.
Now, stop that and listen to me.
Okay, I'll shut up. Well, go on.
No. Now you've made me forget what I was going to say.
Well, if you can't remember, honey, hold a good thought.
It's a big, wide, wonderful world you live in. When you're in love, you're a master. Of all you survey, you're a gay Santa Claus.
I just remembered.
Too late now, honey, I'm rolling. There's a brave new star-spangled sky above you. When you're in love, you're a hero, a Nero, Apollo, the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, Rick, how do you do it?
You've a kingdom, power and glory.
Mr. Diamond, starring Dick Powell, was previously released over the National Broadcasting Company for listeners in the United States and has been re-released to you men and women overseas by the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
This, I believe. Henry Beetle Huff is co-editor with his wife of the Vineyard Gazette in Edgartown, Massachusetts. With the exception of 4 years at the Columbia School of Journalism and a trip to South Africa, he has lived on Martha's Vineyard ever since 1920. His fame, however, has spread far beyond that small island, largely because of his books about Edgartown and the life of a country editor. Besides his paper and the people of his town, he is especially fond of gardening, roses, and bicycling. This is Henry Beetle Huff's creed.
All the generations before our own have found it difficult to understand size, the sheer bigness of big things. But I think a time has come when it is even more difficult to keep into perspective a true idea of smallness. When my wife and I took over the editorship of a country weekly and went to live in a town of 1,200 inhabitants, we were advised that we were making a mistake to set our sights so low, to make a start with so little. But now I look back across a spread of almost 33 years, and to me the choice seems more than ever a wise and proper one. It seems to me that too many modern people assume that anything small is necessarily an early and imperfect version of something that should be bigger and better. They take it for granted that in terms of usefulness and worth and importance, our world has gone beyond the things that are small. But to me, after 3 decades and more, the particular small things I know are more different in kind than in size. They are not underdeveloped or outdated. On the contrary, they are mature, complete examples of what certain activities and relationships have always been and will always be. I believe that a big world is not necessarily a grown-up world, and that the values of life are not measured by any standard of size. In the truth of the human adventure, the truth that has been since the beginning and does not change for the building of vast skyscrapers, or even with the unloosing of the power of the atom, there is no largeness beyond that of the spirit of understanding. Humanity now, as always, is contained in small relationships, flourishes in small places, and finds some of its best blossoming in small tasks. I know of no vastness of enterprise that can outweigh a single human heart. I believe that to be concerned with small things does not mean renunciation of an advancing age, nor a failure of ambition. Human beings must rightly choose varying goals. Whether one is concerned with a small field or a greater, he must accept the discipline of the selected task, a self-discipline having its basis in reason and understanding. Each human being forgoes much and gives up much in devoting himself to a particular share of the human adventure of his time, for he cannot have it all, and to be misled by a false lure of vast things is the surest path to disappointment. Once accepted, this self-discipline discloses another side, and that other side is freedom of the spirit. There is no truer emancipation than the discovery of opportunity in oneself. Our age is one of internationalism and of the broad outlook, but internationalism of viewpoint does not consist in turning one's back upon the local and small, but rather in joining local enjoyment of freedom and humanitarianism with these principles as they exist in other places. I have come to look upon my neighbors not only as the fellow townsmen I see from day to day, but also and accurately as the human race. And in the long run, this should find me looking upon the human race as my neighbors.
They're the beliefs of a Martha's Vineyard country editor, Henry Beetle Huff. The latest of his 7 books is called Singing in the Morning, and like the others, testifies to his love of life.
Mr. District Attorney, starring David Bryan. Mr. District Attorney, champion of the people, defender of truth, guardian of our fundamental rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And it shall be my duty as district attorney not only to prosecute to the limit of the law all persons accused of crimes perpetrated within this county, but to defend with equal vigor the rights and privileges of all its citizens. This is David Bryan. In a moment, we'll bring you another case from the files of Mr. District Attorney. But first, a word from our sponsor.
And now, here is our star, David Bryan, as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
The welfare of a city or county is not jeopardized by criminals alone. Nature itself is capable of sudden and unexpected violence that can lead to terror and death. This case started as part of a natural calamity. A gasoline truck skidded on a wet street, hitting a power pole near the city gasworks. Sparks exploded the truck, and like a chain reaction, the storage tanks. In a matter of seconds, the entire section was rocked with explosions as flames swept a quarter-mile area of warehouses and tenements. 72 hours later, the combined fire departments of several cities were still struggling to get the flames under control. The death toll and damages were appalling.
Look. Just look at that smoke.
Did you get the late edition of the paper?
Yeah, 300 dead so far, more than 100 still missing. Lots of bodies unidentified.
What are the names of that? ballista test?
Oh, right there on page 1. Only about 20 identified so far.
Was Ralph's name one of the...
No. He's probably all right. A working square like him would be all right.
But he had a job washing dishes in that diner right by the gas tank. The explosion started.
Stop blubbering. Do you want to draw attention to me?
But he hit my brother. I've got to worry about him, too, don't I? He's probably dead.
Yeah, he probably is. Your brother Ralph is probably one of the unidentified dead.
Oh, man.
You'll have to go to the emergency headquarters the police have set up in the high school, Lil. If Ralph is dead, you'll have to identify him. If he is there, in with the ones they don't know, there's nothing you can do to help him. But you can help me, Lil.
What do you mean?
If you find him there, baby, what harm can it do if you identify the body but tell the police it's me? Don't you see, baby, it's a chance for me to get in the clear. They'll stop looking for me if they think I'm dead. Now, look, I'll leave town right now, see? I'll let you know where to meet me. Maybe at that resort place we passed near Lake Blue Water. We'll be free, baby. You and me, free from there on.
But Van, how? What do we do for money?
There's a safe in Landstone I've been itching to get at for a long time. One last safe job, baby, and enough to see us through. From then on, we'll be riding a gravy train. Nobody ever arrests a dead man. Now, get going.
All right, Van.
Good girl. Go on.
You're sure your husband isn't at any of the other places where bodies are being held? The city morgue?
No. Only the identified ones are there. Are you a teacher at the school here, or detective, or what?
No, ma'am. My name is Garrett. I'm the district attorney. Keep your hopes up, but don't hope too much for a while.
I'll be all right.
These are pretty bad cases.
I understand.
This one seem familiar in any way?
No.
This one?
No.
I'm sorry. Very sorry. Are you sure?
That ring on his finger.
I know it isn't easy, but try to get a grip.
I'm all right now.
You better give me his name for the identification tag.
His name is Vance. My husband, Vance Young.
Vance Young? I'm afraid I'll have to ask you a few more questions, Mrs. Young. Would you mind stepping over here into the alcove? I know this is most unpleasant for you at a time like this, Mrs. Young. It's unpleasant for me, too, but I have to ask you. It may be just a similarity of names, but did your husband have a criminal record?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Did you know he was wanted in several states for burglary, safecracking?
Does that matter now? He's dead, isn't he?
Yes. I'm sorry I had to do this, Mrs. Young. You will find several men at desks outside that door at the back of the gym. They'll help you with the funeral arrangements.
All right. Thank you.
That's Young.
Excuse me, please. Oh, hello, Chief.
No. Hello, Harrington.
The mayor and the head of the disaster committee want to see you.
Where are they?
Riverside Garage. They're converting it into a temporary emergency hospital. Regular hospital's overflowing. You'll be ready for your hospital yourself soon. You look tired.
I'm all right. I'll be glad when this is over, though. I hope we never see anything like it again.
Yeah. This identification job is the worst of it.
I've helped with 5 today. You stand there with somebody, watch their lives fall apart because of a freak accident.
That woman I just saw you with, did she find somebody?
Yes, her husband. Harrington, the man she identified was Vance Young.
Vance Young? The safecracker?
Yes.
Was he hiding out in the tenement district?
No, she said he had gone to visit a friend at a diner near the gasworks just about a half hour before the explosion. Well, I guess the explosion closed our files on him for good. Oh, when you check back to the office tonight, have Miss Miller put out a bulletin to all law enforcement agencies. Take Vance Young off the wanted list. There's no point in looking for a dead man. Sorry, fellas. That's all the breadcrumbs for today. See you for lunch tomorrow.
I thought I'd find you up here on the roof.
Oh, hello, Miss Miller. I was just feeding the pigeons.
Elevator boy told me. Harrington called from the basement garage. He wanted to speak to you. He's on his way up.
Oh, there he is now. Hello, Harrington.
Hi, Chief.
You busy?
No. What's the matter?
Well, I had to stop in at the county sheriff's office a few minutes ago. While I was there, his deputy called in from Landstone. Something he thought we might look into.
What?
A safe at the Landstone Mercantile Company was burglarized last night. A payroll job. Watchman was knocked out, but he's been treated, and he's okay now if you want to go out there and question him.
Oh, we better go right away.
The elevator.
I'll ring.
What was it, Harrington? A safe cracking?
Yeah. Well, at least there's one safe specialist we can eliminate right from scratch on this one.
Who?
Vance Young.
Oh, yes. I'd almost forgotten about him. Dead men don't rob safes, do they?
Here's the elevator now.
Basement garage, Joe.
Well, this is the layout, Chief, according to the deputy's report. These back rooms are used for storage. He came in through the back, went through that door over there to the general office. That's where the safe is. You want to see it?
Yes.
There it is. Out over there beside the filing cabinets in the corner.
Lucas Hercules, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, new model, too. Steel and wrought iron plates and more alarm wires and a police switchboard.
Yes, but a good safe cracker could divert the alarm circuit without tripping it. Then the box is a cinch because he's got the wire holes to start working on. Take a look.
All right. Back plate is blown clear off. Doesn't even look like he used a drill.
No, small nitro charges in the wire holes, and it was as good as having a combination. I'll give you a yell for the watchman, will you?
Yeah, sure. Hey, you from the sheriff's office. Yeah, you. Send that watchman in here, will you?
Oh, here's where the circuit was jumped, Harrington. Neat hookup.
Mm-hmm.
Lab crew take a complete set of photos?
They always do. Oh, here comes the watchman.
You fellas want to see me? I'm the watchman.
Yes, what's your name?
Edwin Winkler. Everybody calls me Winky.
I understand you were knocked out. How's your head?
Well, aspirin ain't going to help it any, I tell you. I think you're going to get that fella that did it?
We'll be able to answer that better when all the fingerprints are checked.
Fingerprints? He didn't leave none, I tell you. He's wearing gloves. I saw him.
Looks like our best bet is going to be an M.O. check, Harrington.
Yeah.
M.O. check? What's that?
Modus operandi. All people have definite work habits. Even criminals. They repeat the same procedure on each job they do. It forms a pattern.
Yeah, we've got a pattern here, all right, Chief.
Well, I can think of 3 men suited by that M.O. 3 safe crackers whose work we've seen before.
Yeah. Well, let's see. There's Bert Larkin, but he's still doing time in Folsom for a job he pulled on the coast.
Yes, and the other 2 are Jack Fontaine and Vance Young.
Yeah, but Young is dead. That just leaves us Fontaine.
You mean you know who did it with nothing to tell you?
An M.O. can be almost as good as fingerprints or a signature.
Well, I'll be dinged. Maybe that fellow'll pay for slugging me after all, and for hurting my arm when they grabbed me in the alley out there.
You said he grabbed you?
Why, yeah. He whipped my arm up behind me, then jabbed a thumb up behind my ear. Hurt like crazy.
I got it. A judo trick, Chief. That still fits Fontaine.
It fits Vance Young, too. When did the burglar slug you, Winky?
After he made me open the back door and let him in.
Sneaked up on you before you could draw your gun, huh?
Sneak nothing. That's why I didn't suspicion him at first. He come walking up the alley whistling like somebody taking a shortcut through. I didn't see the mask he was wearing till I lit a match. He asked for a light, see? Then he grabbed me. He got me in here and then beat on me and kicked me.
That doesn't sound like Fontaine, Chief.
It wasn't Fontaine. He always wears sneakers, comes up on a watchman from behind without a sound. That trick of asking for a match is Vance Young's. Gets the watchman's hands high and away from his gun.
But Chief, Vance Young is
dead. Maybe yes, maybe no. But I know one thing. We're going to find out. This is David Bryan. Before we continue with Mr. District Attorney in the case of the living dead man, here is an important message from our sponsor.
And now back to David Bryan, starring as Paul Garrett, Mr. District Attorney.
Explosions and fire in a natural disaster had destroyed a section of the city, killing more than 300 people. One of the dead had been identified by his wife, who admitted him to be a notorious safecracker wanted by the police. But now, suddenly, we were faced with a crime having all the earmarks of being committed by the man we thought to be dead. I went back to the office and started to check through the records.
Here's the information you wanted on Young's wife, Mr. Garrett.
Oh, thanks.
She gave her name as Lillian Young, and she arranged burial with the disaster committee.
Did she give an address?
Yes, 1310 Morton Avenue. There's something the police made a notation on, though.
What?
That ring she said she identified the body by?
Yes.
Well, the undertaker turned it into the property claims division, but she's never showed up to claim it.
No, I don't understand it. I swear to you, Miss Miller, that woman was not putting on an act. She was hurt. Very deeply hurt, and she made that identification. Come in.
All right, Chief.
Well, what'd you find, Harrington?
Well, I checked on the tag number on the body. Young's body, or whoever it was. Fire department code showed that it was found in the vicinity of that diner by the gas works, all right. That's where the worst ones came from, the heart of that first explosion.
All right, here's what we do. Mrs. Young didn't claim the ring she used in identification. Get her from the property section. I'll give you an order.
Yeah.
Lots of workers who escaped the blast, truckers and people like that, might have eaten at that diner. See if any one of them can remember seeing that ring before. See if they can tell you who owned it.
Right.
Meanwhile, Miss Miller, I want you to check the Hall of Records. Find out when and where Young and that woman were married. I want her maiden name, where she came from, everything we can get on her.
Yes, sir.
Where will you be, Chief, when I get finished?
I'm going to try the home address Mrs. Young gave. You can follow me out there if you get anything.
Now, this was the room, mister. If there was anything they did, I didn't know about it. My wife and I run a respectable place here, and...
I'm sure you do, Mr. Johnson. I just want to look around.
Yeah, well, as I said, they didn't leave a thing. They only lived here 5-6 weeks, all told.
You get to know the husband very well?
To tell the truth, I hardly ever saw him. Come to think of it, I haven't seen him in more than a week since the big fire. He went out one night while that was going on and never did come back.
But you say his wife left only yesterday.
Yeah, right after the morning mail come. She gave him the keys to the room and packed up and left.
After the mail, You know if she got a letter from anybody?
Yeah, but I didn't see who from or where from. She waited for the postman most every morning. I got a house to take care of. Maybe Charlie can tell you where she went.
Charlie?
Yeah, a cab driver has the hack stand right up in the corner. She called him when she got packed. Oh, there's Charlie's cab now. You can see through the window. He just pulled up.
Thanks. I'll talk to him.
Yeah, so long.
So long.
Yes, sir, where to?
What makes you think I want a cab?
The way I seen you coming to me, I can spot a fare a mile out. Where to?
Well, that's up to you, here or the police station.
Oh, cop, eh? What'd I do, forget to answer the ticket?
I'll ask the questions. You pick up a fare yesterday at 1310, the rooming house up the street?
Yesterday? Now, let me think.
Think faster. The landlord said you did. A woman named Lillian Young.
Okay, so I picked her up. So what?
Where'd you take her?
Bus depot.
You know which bus she took?
No, I don't. But whatever it was, it left 11:05.
You're sure of that?
I ought to be sure. Almost got a ticket for speeding to get to it. We'd had plenty of time. She didn't make me come dashing back here the first time after we was almost halfway to the depot.
Dashing back where? Back to the rooming house?
No, back to the laundry up the street there. I guess she had some stuff in there, although she didn't bring a bundle out with her.
The place up the street, huh?
That's right. Hop in, I'll drive you.
Oh, thanks, but there's a friend of mine I can ride with. Hello, Harrington.
Come on, hop in. I was just heading for the rooming house when I spotted you talking to the cabbie. What's up?
Young's been missing since the fire. But Mrs. Young checked out yesterday after getting the morning mail. Caught an 11:05 bus.
11:05. Yeah, that's a northbound, I think. Upstate in the mountain areas.
Oh, we can check it later. You got anything on the ring?
Oh, yeah. A guy who was off duty at the gas works when they blew. He used to eat at that diner. Said the ring belonged to a counterman named Ralph Brenner. He must have been our dead man.
And Mrs. Young must have known him to cry the way she did.
Oh, she knew him all right. Miss Miller checked on her. Her maiden name was Lillian Brenner. The guy in the diner was her brother.
And that's why she was so broken up.
And what's our move? The bus depot?
No, a laundry up the street.
What? Why?
Because that's the last place Lillian Young stopped before she left town.
Yeah, she was real upset because the things wasn't ready. You know how things was. We're 5 days behind on our regular work because of the fire. Funny thing, the only one who complained about the laundry being late was Mrs. Young. Maybe that was only because she had to leave town. She had taken the stuff with her, finished or not. Hadn't been in the tubs.
Well, what did she leave?
Oh, just shirts. Her husband's, I guess. Real good shirts, though, the kind you don't have to starch at all. And fancy colors. Well, my old man wouldn't be found dead in some of them.
She said she'd be back to pick up the shirts?
No. She wanted them sent to her COD. Said she needed the money she had on her for traveling. Shirts like that, you'd think her and her man was rolling in money, but...
We understand, but did she give you a forwarding address?
Yeah, I got it right here in this book. Here we are. See, she wrote it down herself.
Let's see, General Delivery Chief, Lake Blue Water.
Shirts are ready now. They're there on that there shelf up there. I'm going to wrap them and mail them out tonight.
We'll save you the trouble. Just wrap them and we'll deliver them for you. Young's Laundry isn't going to get there until we do.
There's the road sign now, Chief. Blue Water.
25 miles speed limit. Better slow down.
Yeah, not that there's any need to. That's mostly for summer. Season's over now. Regular residents turn in early.
Oh, just the same. It's the law.
Yeah.
Looks like you're right, though. Main Street's practically deserted.
Mm-hmm. Looks like everything's closed up for the night already, except for the movie and the drugstore. Hey, we better find the hotel and turn in.
No, I think we'd better drive out of town. Find a motel someplace on the highway.
Motels up here aren't much. Mostly cabins with kitchens along the shore of the lake when we get past town. Now, here's the end of town now. I can let her out here a little.
I won't mind spending the night beside the lake. Air is crisp and fresh.
By midnight, it'll be crisp and frozen. Here's the lakeshore turnoff. I hope we find a place open.
We will. Some of the owners must stay on to do post-season repairs.
You know, Chief, it's a funny thing about Young's wife remembering his shirts even when she was getting ready to run. I guess it's force of habit for a woman, huh?
Strong thing, habit. Young's safe-cracking habits tipped us that he was still alive. Now, maybe his wife's habits are going to make him wish he were dead again. I think... Stop the car, Harrington.
Huh? What is it? What's the matter?
I just saw something. Back up. About 50 feet.
What was it?
Just a flash of something through the trees. Back up. Headlights picked it up as we came past.
Little road goes down there, that's all. Wooden sign on that tree. Foster's Cabins. Oh, yeah. See the backs of the cabins down there? It's all dark, though.
I see something else, don't you? Put the bright lights on again.
Yeah. Wash hanging on the line behind one of the cabins.
Look at the two men's shirts on the end of the line.
Looks like a couple of rainbows even in this light. Hey.
That's the kind of color scheme Vance Young goes in for. The shirts we have in the laundry bundle are just like those. You better put out the lights. Don't slam the car door getting out. Let's walk down and have a look at those shirts.
Right. You know the laundry mark on the ones we picked up?
Yes, 4 numerals. 1310. Same as the address of the rooming house they lived in. Fine, now. Got your flashlight handy?
Yeah.
All right. Let's have the light. Feel it as much as you can. Marks will be inside the collar. There it is. 1310. Yeah.
Van? Is that you? Who are you? What do you want?
Come on, Harrington.
Van!
Don't run, Mrs. Young. It won't do you any good.
Grab her.
Van, it's the police!
Where is he?
I don't know. He's gone. He's not here. He went into town.
Down there, Harrington.
Oh, where?
The boat dock by the lake. I saw a shadow moving. Let her go. We'll pick her up later.
There he is, Chief.
Hurry. He's getting oars out of the boathouse.
Stay out of the rowboat, Vance.
He's pushing off.
I'm going to jump through.
Look out, Harrington. The oar.
Oh, brilliant, you coming. I'm not as easy as you think.
Look out. You got President. I can't swim. Oh! He can't swim. He wasn't lying. He can't swim.
I got you, Junior. Just relax. That's better.
Ladder over here, Harrington. I'll give you a hand.
Grab him. He's starting to come to.
I got him. Heave.
I told you I couldn't swim.
Well, where you're going, mister, it won't matter.
Man, look at him. That water's freezing cold. Don't just stand here with him.
Well, he's no worse off than I am, lady.
No, he isn't, Harrington. As a matter of fact, he's much better off than you are.
What's that supposed to mean?
You'll see when we get back to our car. At least we have a nice dry shirt waiting for you.
Come on, get moving.
This is David Bryan again. I hope you've enjoyed this case from the file of Mr. District Attorney. I'll be back in just a moment after this message from our sponsor.
Now, here's the star of Mr. District Attorney, David Bryan, with a word about the program you have just heard.
Having been convicted 3 times previously for felonies, Vance Young, on this 4th conviction for burglary and assault, was sentenced to life imprisonment as an incorrigible criminal. His wife, Lillian Young, having no previous criminal record, was sentenced to 5 years in the women's penitentiary for aiding a criminal, obstructing justice, and willfully giving false information to law enforcement authorities. Now, this is David Bryan inviting you to join us when we present our next case based on the facts of crime from the file of Mr. District Attorney.
Mr. District Attorney was originated by Phillips H. Lord.